Ahoy, landlubbers. It's me, your Captain Vasco speaking. Hi, hello, welcome. It is Saturday, December 13th, 2025. Welcome to it. Um, at the end of yesterday's stream, we were talking about donuts, and we have new donuts. These are not the same donuts from yesterday. But there was, and I expected this, but there was immediate concern expressed when I did not have 100% juice apple for stream. The problem is that I have drank too many calories today and I feel disgusting. I did go, and I mentioned this on yesterday's stream. I saw Wicked colon for good with my mom today, which was great. I feel like I had heard nothing, not particularly anything bad, but also nothing good about it, which felt weird. It felt like a sign that people didn't like it or something. But I liked the movie. I also hadn't seen the stage play at all before. I don't know if that factors in.
The new Cyclops killer.
That might, you know what? The new Cyclops killer may be responsible for the lack of audience response. He may have been taking people out on their way out of the theater. That's possible. But so we went to the movie theater that has this absolutely comical size of icy. I'm a big fan of Coke ices. But the size they have at this movie theater is actually pretty grotesque, even by my standards. And I finished like a whole one of those, and then my mom and I had plans to have lunch after the movie. Normally we have lunch, and she accompanies me while I run errands because I do better with some reason to like be beholden to do errands. This comes in many forms, but my mom just hanging out with me while I do them is one of them. But I did not sufficiently manage to persuade my own self to not go back to Arby's for like my seventh apple pie milkshake, which, before you get mad at me, I didn't finish. The rest of it's in the freezer, but that was still like way more calories than I should have drank, and I feel really gross. So I'm not going to drink a sugary fruit juice this one time. And if we're incapable of being chill about that, well, that's going to be your problem. Do you feel like you've done things for good? That's such a complicated question for so few words, Jakey. I don't really know how to address that question. Um, Speaking of drinking calories, should make a protein shake. See, I'm doing God's work of reminding you to have that protein shake. That's what we're here for. That's actually not what we're here for. What we're here for those of you who are new or haven't been around for a while, is Steam. In particular, we're not playing a game tonight, most likely, unless you all surprise me terribly. I don't think this will occur. It's the second annual Giftmas stream. Now, last year, I will confess that this worked out timing-wise a little bit better, where part of the inspiration for the original Giftmas stream in 2024 was that I didn't know what to stream, and we were pretty close to Christmas, close enough that like Steam holiday sales had begun, and it felt like we could manage to get like a few good games for stream and like take advantage of sales. That's not probably happening today, but the thing is that if we want to start playing any of these games before the end of the year, which I feel like we should do, and also I don't know what else I would do today if that were not the case, then we kind of have to do this today, because the way things work out is, I gotta tell you, and I have a really hard time articulating this. I've tried and I can't do it effectively. But like 2025 has had many problems, but among them, for one such as myself, the calendar is lined up in a really disagreeable way, where like a lot of months have like started on Mondays. And like this doesn't matter to like a normal person, but the way my job works, it's actually like tremendously inconvenient. But like in addition to that, there have been little things, like for example, just the fact that like and don't confuse this for me being upset about this activity, but my sister's birthday is next Sunday, and she will be visiting here, and she has expressed interest in going to Disney World, and that's all great. But like if her birthday was on like Monday, then I feel like I could justify doing next Saturday's stream, which I can't. So the last stream of the calendar year is going to be next Friday, and that's how we ended up here. Terrible year to be Garfield. Yeah, it's so many Mondays, man. It's rough. Anyway, today aside, my what passes for a diet, I think it's been going really well. Last week I was extremely good. Not specifically because I anticipated being like horrible today, but that probably helps offset things slightly. I got a decent amount of exercise in despite everything, but like I don't think it offsets that number of calories drunk at all. To be clear, before I said anything specific about 2025 being a bad year in specificity, I did preface by saying there were many reasons for it to be bad. So don't, so you hate waffles me, all right? That's your baggage. If you're bringing that to chat, understand that I already said that. Great year to be spotted lanternfly. No, I'm gonna need you to be more specific about that. Not like a lot more specific, but I need you to explain what that means and also why. I don't think I'm familiar with the spotted lanternfly. So on the Discord, like an hour and a half ago or something like that, I reminded everyone to start thinking, if they hadn't already, about games to suggest for Giftmas. But Mystery asked a very reasonable and sensible question of like, are there ground rules? Or as one of my tropes in my Christmas movie trope list for my notes for this year is simply put, what are the rules? Which is the trope that I assign to when there's some sort of Christmas activity or competition depicted in a holiday movie, and they don't really explain the rules to the satisfaction of the viewer to the point that the contest itself basically has no meaning. Okay, Zeko says, of course, spotted lanternflies doing well to the detriment of everything else in U.S. ecosystem. So it's like invasive species. How have I not heard about this? It's not just in the Maryland, D.C. area, it sounds like. Localized in the Northeast. Localized entirely in Principal Skinner's kitchen at this time of year, at this time of day, in this part of the country. I never get that sequence on that right, but I do love some steamed hams from time to time. But yeah, so what are the rules? For one, this is the second year we've done Giftmas. The rules are somewhat fluid. But here's what I'll say. The rules are we have $40 to spend as a community. One thing that I think I should stress that maybe I didn't stress enough last year is that at best, I am your secondary audience to sell any particular game title on. If you're suggesting something, what you want is for everyone else in chat to agree with you that this idea is good. In fact, better than all other ideas suggested. Because you are steering the ship, my dear helmsman. You are the ones who are deciding what we spend this $40 on. Now, if you want some suggestions from me, I've put together a list. One weird game in particular that I only recently heard about that I'm actually just like a little interested to see if there's any interest in it. It's something I might just like do of my own accord like next year or something if it's of interest to people, but it seems a bit odd. Invasive insect species that's thriving in the US. Very bad thing for a lot of other species. I mean, invasive species by their nature work that way. I think there's like multiple long-standing ongoing invasive species in Florida. There's like Burmese pythons, and then I think they created a second problem by doing the same thing that happened in that Simpsons episode where they like did it start with snakes? It's been a long time. There's like some episode where they get an invasive species and they try to answer it with another invasive species. And I think that's like literally what happened in Florida. There was even, and this is true, like a bizarre reality show about people in Florida who make it like a full-time career to hunt Burmese pythons. It's rough. It's rough out there, boy. They destroy the foliage. Yeah, I mean, invasive species are bad. I do think the iguanas are an invasive species. I don't remember if that's related to the snake one. I want to say the iguanas were like, if I remember correctly, I feel like I read something about this year that the invasive iguana species were like introduced to like a small island off the coast of Florida, maybe in the Keys or something, and they like thought they would remain localized on that island, and then like they surprised whoever brought them there by making it to the mainland and then causing problems or something. I think that's about right. Anyway, I don't know how we ended up on invasive well, Zacula. But speaking of Zacula, hi, hello. Zacula has brought to the floor. Okay, this is distressing to me. Okay, let's talk for a hot second, a molten hot second. So, I am not in any way opposed to dating sims as a concept. I kind of like the idea. It's it's pretty like embarrassing in a weird way to stream them, but I'm not above that. Um, which we'll approach in a more direct fashion in a moment when I bring up this first game. But like one of the things that's most troubling about the notion of like buying dating sim games on Steam is that like I went to the search bar today to mess around and like populate a little list of titles in case there wasn't a lot of activity in chat. And for some ungodly, I mean, it's listed as popular searches, and thankfully not like things we're recommending to you, you heathen. But like, why is Fox Sex Farm top of popular searches? Like, the Steam list of available dating sims is so gross. Like, it's so possible to make a dating sim and not be disgusting, but like, just like, why must it be like this? Um, we're friends here, embarrassed how. I mean, like, so here's the thing that you have to keep in mind, Mystery. Because, like, there's different ways that you could play a dating sim game. But, like, imagine, like, and I want you to take an empathetic stance here. This is important not because I think you or anyone in chat lack empathy, but that in order to understand this, you must approach this concept with empathy. So imagine that you present imagine that you basically like put yourself on trial in front of a bunch of your peers with how you would approach a date and like think about how like anxious and weird that is. That's the concept of streaming a dating sim game. This is entirely separate from playing a dating sim game. Playing a dating sim game by yourself is like fine, and there's nothing particularly weird about it unless perhaps you're searching Fox Sex Farm. But like streaming it is weird. It's a little uncomfortable. I mean, also my mom's in chat, but frankly, that's never stopped me before. Well, that's the thing too. Is like dating sims are like a box of chocolates. You never know how horny they're gonna get unless you do a bunch of research ahead of time. But this leads us back to where we begin, which is 5 hearts under one roof. Now, I've talked a little bit about this on stream. There's 2 games in the series. I think the second one came out this year. I don't know when, but somewhat famously, well-known Twitch streamer Northern Lion streamed the second game, the recent one that was released, 5 Hearts Under One Roof Season 2, I think they call it. And it was fascinating to me for a few reasons. One of which is that it is a full motion video dating sim, of which there are very, very few. I don't think it's the only one, but the only other ones I've seen like aren't very good dating sims. They're just not great in general. One of them is like extremely gross. But like also just like the general like quality of the way it was handled, and there wasn't anything like excessively horny. And like even the few times there was kind of like an unsettlingly horny option, like they would try to make you feel bad for choosing it. So it seemed a little bit more about like actually trying to earnestly approach the concept of dating, which made it interesting and appealing to me. But let's go ahead. This is gonna be a bunch of us watching trailers and then you shouting at each other. Okay, so that's part of the. It's an unspoken rule. So I was, and I don't know how loud this should be, so I'm just gonna default it to this many. What was I saying? Oh yeah. If we play and if there's general interest from chat, this is also a thing we may just do in the new year because this idea is interesting to me, even though I think it may also be off-putting to some percentage of the audience. But like I would play the first one simply because it's the first one in the series and I know less about it than the other one, which I've seen one full playthrough of. Probably quieter than that, huh? Probably like extremely quiet, huh? Can I make that quieter? I guess I can It's so cute, but also weird. So, I mean, concept is classic dating sim, which is sort of like one person of one particular gender happens to meet a bunch of single people who are inexplicably in love with them. But it's also, I mean, the game is entirely in Korean. Let's not gloss over that. This is a Korean full motion video dating sim game. Just that combination of words is very fascinating to me. Yeah, like I think it's like deliberately very like K-drama inspired, but like with a particular sort of slant to it that makes it into a dating sim game. Not really reality show format. It's more presented as slice of life. It's like and I don't want you to misconstrue the terminology if you're not familiar with it, but like it's honestly like a little closer to like harem anime, which isn't, again, like usually isn't super gross, sometimes is, but like harem anime are normally just sort of like some derpy guy meets like 5 ridiculously attractive anime girls and they're all instantly in love with him even though he's insanely generic. So it's like that. Like some circumstance causes all of the love interests to meet him in a similar time frame so that he can sort of variously choose to go on dates with them. No, these are real actors to my understanding, which is like one of the things that's interesting about it. Although I do have to say, I'm kind of on pins and needles. I don't know if it'll show up. This isn't out yet, but like they appeared at one of the games in their upcoming thing. We've got a sizzle reel for it. It's like basically the same concept, but it's like the post-apocalypse. It's like the 6 survivors of Doomsday are like one generic South Korean guy and 5 eligible women. And it's just so stupid. I'm really interested in this. Or at least like that's my interpretation of the text around it. I don't know if that's real. It's like The Bachelor but less cringe. Yes, but not without cringe. Just like less cringe. Like solidly less cringe than The Bachelor, but still some amount of cringe. It's like a Woody Allen movie or an Austin Powers movie. I think no. I mean, I'm not sure how I can loop that back into it's not that it's completely dissimilar, but I don't think that informs our conversation. Yeah, there's no such thing as a dating sim free of cringe. That I do think that's probably true. Even as someone who, again, isn't hard against the concept of doing a dating sim or streaming a dating sim, but I do think that streaming a dating sim is some amount uncomfortable. And I'm willing to broach that subject because I legitimately find there to be some interest in these games. Now, along these lines, I don't actually know that much about this game. It's called Date Everything. It's been mentioned like 10,000 times in chat.
They say love sees not with the eyes, but with the heart. Perhaps that's why it turns up where you least expect it. Wait, so you're telling me you can date everything? The washing machine, the chair, the refrigerator?
Time for a snack.
This door, that door, even front and back door.
What are you looking at?
The
Oh,
fan,
I don't want to
the
date
wall,
backdoor. That makes me
microwave,
uncomfortable.
The toilet, the dust bunny behind the couch. All right then. The curtains, bed, treadmill, mousetrap, dishwasher, desk, piano, dirty laundry, clock, candelabra, the TV, bath, towels, rubber duck, shower, floor, ceilings, shelves, ironing board, trash can, air fryer, vacuum
There
cleaner,
must
the
be a
gates,
limit.
the glitch in the game itself, the shadows, water, earth, fire, air.
What is
your
happening?
Overwhelming sense of existential dread. You can
Obviously, that's
even
named
date
Doug.
The kitchen sink.
Everything leads to love. You can date everything.
So remember, love isn't where the heart is told to look, but where it dares to wander. Date everything out now.
Is this actually good? I have to tell you, that trailer looks exhausting. Like,
Team 17.
what I'm concerned about, again, not having played it, it feels like, what it feels like to me is that, much like Boyfriend Dungeon, this is a much funnier concept than it is an actual meaningful execution. It's apparently legit good. Well, here's an issue too. And this is actually one of the things I do like about Five Hearts Under One Roof, the Korean full motion video dating sim game, is like, I don't actually have a ton, like, I have like a passing familiarity with like a handful of dating sim games, but like, I feel like a bunch of them have this issue where, like, in order to have, like, one playthrough gives you, like, very little, and you're expected to just, like, try every character to have any kind of meaningful experience with it, and, like, that's not, like, a hard pass to me, but, like, I have concerns that the only way that I get a full game experience out of Date Everything is by, like, doing, like, 48 playthroughs, which, like, doesn't sound great. They didn't mention the wall. I am fairly certain they mentioned the wall anime. Like, I'm almost positive the wall was mentioned in that list. It is good. I've seen it played. Boyfriend Dungeon, that's your new band name. You might have to fight for the copyright, because I'm not making that up. That's a real game that I've already streamed. I was hype about that game for years, and it took them forever to come out with it, and then I really ended up disappointed with it, because the dungeon mechanics were like, okay, but then, like, the story, and I'm going to spoil this bit of the story, it's kind of important, but it shouldn't be. But, like, so, like, you can choose who to date in that game out of, like, a handful of sentient weapons that you use to battle in the dungeon, but there is like a mandatory stalker character who for some reason you are obliged to like redeem in order to like end the story mode of the game, and it like and I'm not being hyperbolic, like it actually offends me. Like I actually found that like really uncomfortable and gross. Like I really didn't care for that. It was like an insanely weird choice in my opinion, and like just completely tone deaf. Echo says, my main concern with streaming Date Everything is that it seems like the kind of game that's streamer bait for reaction content specifically. I mean, that's entirely possible. Yeah, I guess that's the crux of my argument. Like, I am not... To look at that trailer and see what emphasis they're putting on Date Everything, which, I mean, it's in the name, but also I feel like from what little I'd heard about it, I had a slightly different impression on what their idea of Date Everything meant. But, like, it does kind of feel like it may not have real substance, and that, like, the substance is meant to be, like, wow, lol, lamau, roller skates, rafflecopter, look how many things. Which, like, again, like, my concern is, like, ha ha ha, for, like, an hour, maybe a few, and then just, like, I don't care. And it's fine, because this is your money, and again, I'm not the main audience. Like, here's something I want to stress, is that, like, it is entirely possible that I will hard veto something, like anything that's like against terms of service or something like that. Obviously, we're not doing. But like, you know, if you wanted to choose a game that you know I'm going to hate, we can make that a game that's part of the money for Giftmas. But what you must also keep in mind is that you'll get only the amount of enjoyment out of me streaming that game as I can be bothered to tolerate. So if you choose something you know I'm going to hate, you might get 10 minutes out of that. It's a meme game. Yeah. And like, if that's what you want, you're welcome to it. Although, what's the price on? Yeah, this is a 30. It's expensive. Both these dating games we're talking about are meme games. Now, hang on. When you say both, we've been talking about at least 3. Which both are you talking about? I think Date Everything definitely is. That's the thing. It's like most of our money. And again, you all are the primary arbiter. You need to make a communal decision. Can't expect more than that for a game by the team that brought you war. Is that true? Is Sassy Chap Games the Worms, folks? I don't know. This match has come up a bunch of times. I know Cotillion is really interested in. Also relatively expensive because it came out. Does anyone happen to know? I think this is episodic. Does that $30 price tag cover the like quote unquote seasons? Anyone know? Yeah, I have to say, Steam has been relentlessly recommending Seance of Blake Manor to me. I have heard of it from almost no source other than Steam, but I feel like anytime I even think about Steam, it's like, have you considered buying the Seance of Blake Manor? Which I finally bothered to watch the trailer today, and it actually looks decent. Started playing Unbeatable today? I don't know what that is. So we're trying to do more than one game or just one game? That's all up to you, Keen. Again, like, if like chat can agree on one $40 game, then we're done here. If, you know, last year, I think we ended up getting 3. It was at least 2. We bought, I forget the exact name of it, but it was like a monster collecting game that was definitely not Pokemon. And we got, was Thorline the Laser Eyes part of this? I think it might have been. There might have been a third one. I feel like we ended up with 3. Let's watch Dispatch real quick. I don't know, I've variously been given the impression that like this violates terms of service and doesn't violate terms of service. One thing to keep in mind, as much as I dislike saying this out loud, is that my understanding of terms of service is that it allows for like some amount of tasteful nudity that's like relevant to the plot of a game. I'd still rather not be playing games with nudity, just generally. Just cause like, just sort of harkening back to the like, I don't like, off stream, I played, Immortality, which has like a non-trivial amount of nudity in it, and I'm fine with that. But like, again, the public setting of streaming the game with nudity makes it weird. Makes it kind of weird. Okay, so Dispatch. Here's the trailer. I don't know how loud it's gonna be. It seems loud. From some of the people that brought you Walking Dead, Wolf Among Us, Tale from the Board. So importantly, Telltale Games folks. Passive-aggressively bi-second Twinkie, probably my choice.
You're Mega Man.
Oh, Dispatch does have a streamer mode? That's good to know.
I thought.
This on the inside. My suit was destroyed.
You have a lot left to give. I would like to make you an offer.
This is SDN.
Love this song. Can't believe they got
Sit in an office and dispatch
licensing
heroes.
rights.
In exchange, we can make you Mecha Man again.
Washed up dad bod superhero with no superpowers. Can't wait.
Whenever there's a crisis in the area, we get a call, and guess who answers?
Me.
Too easy.
Oh, you shouldn't have done that.
What are you doing in Visigal? Is that your car?
I don't have a car.
That's gonna be a weird insurance claim.
The way things are going, I'd cut the whole damn team.
All of you in this room have set this program ablaze with your bullshit.
You're right at home behind that desk because you're no hero. You're a nerd playing a video game in a suit your daddy built.
You gonna eat those Twinks?
That's not what they're... You know what? Help yourself.
Dude's missing part of his ear. So I know... I've heard lots of good things about this. It's definitely on, like, a relative short list of things to do on stream at all. I don't, like, I haven't seen enough of the game to know exactly how the gameplay works, but, like, I think basically, you know, as the trailer sort of presents, like, you play the office guy who tells which heroes to go where, and those choices probably impact the story, like how successful the missions are, you know, whether you, like, redeem your team of failure heroes or something. All the big name voice actors. Yeah, Aaron Paul, is he, like, the lead? And I thought that was Laura Bailey in there. Matt Mercer. Moist Critical? Jacksepticeye? I'm sure I should know more of these. Wait, Alana Pierce is a familiar name. Why do I know that name? I don't know. Sounds like a good number of these are, like, internet famous folks, like streamers and things of their own right.
What's your name?
Is there a second
little girl?
list?
My name's Pete and I'm naked.
Oh, no. I refuse to believe that's what he sounds like.
Well, Lamau. It's a good number of big names. Also, yeah, Ride Like the Wind, excellent song. Strong choice, just again, like, I mean, I assume we're talking indie studio, and that's a lot of money, probably, to license the song for use, but, like, really good. So, like, dispatches and again, you guys are driving, so what else? You know, I wanna let's look at Seance of Blake Manor, just because that came up. It looks a little, if I'm thinking of, two of the games I sort of came across, like, poking around today are, like, sort of blueprints-like. I don't know when this came out, but I don't think it's old enough to actually have been influenced by the popularity of blueprints. I think the other of the two games, which was Escape from Mistwood Mansion, looked more blueprints-esque, but it feels, there's part of this that makes it look like Exploring the Manor has some, like, blueprints elements.
What secrets are hiding here in Blake Manor? And where is Evelyn Dean? Time is running out.
I think it takes place in, like, Ireland in the 1890s.
Miss Dean didn't leave the hotel, and somebody wants us to think that she did.
I really need to sort that mess out.
I'm at my wit's end, Declan Ward.
I don't know if there's, feels like there might be, like, an element of, Return of the Obra Dinn. Like, there's part of it that looks like there's, like, a checklist of unhappy haunts to, like, exorcise from the manor or something like that. Blows blueprints out of the water in terms of everything and way less frustration. Now, have you played this game already, Demolition? Recommend Unbeatable. Okay, what, I think you mentioned Unbeatable. Hey, how about Fox Sex Farm? Just kidding. Shut up, Steam. Oh, this was on, like, the front page. What is Unbeatable? Let's call the whole thing off and play King's Quest Episode 2. People have been clamoring for it. People can't get enough of King's Quest Chapter 2. You're definitely right about that. I love whacking balls. Nobody take that out of context. Looks very fooly-cooly. Game where music is illegal and you do crimes. Okay, now I don't want to rub anyone the wrong way. Because I don't mean this as a commentary on the game, simply the trailer. I don't think that's a very good trailer. It gives me a very clear sense of what the vibe of the world of the game is. I have no earthly idea what the gameplay of that game is like, and I saw some of it. Like, I don't understand. Thank you, Jakey. What did I say? Space Quest 4 is always an option? Why 4? I don't know the Space Quest games terribly well. I don't remember what 4's doing. Expedition 33. I'm going to say that's a hard veto for 2 reasons. One, there's not a shot on God's green earth I'm going to try and run that on my stream computer. Are you joking me? And 2, I have technically put it on my Christmas list, which, if you know, there are very few rules that my mother will enforce harshly, and one of them is if it goes on your Christmas list, you don't think about buying it anymore. So it cannot happen. Just picked one. Eddie Space Quest game is always an option. I mean, you're not wrong about that. I can't help but feel like somehow we've already lost sight of the fact that, like, you're not trying to impress me as much as you're trying to impress everyone else in chat. Talos Principle. I'm not sure I can run Talos Principle on this computer. I maybe can, but not while stream. I don't know, while streaming. I'm pretty sure you got me the original Talos Principle within the last 2 years, Demolition, I think. I mean, the remaster may offer something beyond that, but it is in my library, as it turns out. Space Quest is... This is true. I will say that on the subject of any Space Quest will do, historically, in the world of, like, point-and-click adventure gaming, they weren't, like, competing fan bases, but they were sort of competing schools of design. One was Sierra Games, and one was LucasArts. And I have always been more of a LucasArts gamer. Because, like, LucasArts, you can always beat those games. Sierra had a different mentality to adventure that I think meant to tap into more, like, of the sensibility of, like, tabletop role-playing games, of, like, failure being an option. But, like, it leads to something that, like, modern game design, like, really can't abide by, which is that, like, you could just, like, randomly, without knowing it, achieve, like, a complete failure state of the video game after, like, an hour, and then, like, continue to play the game for, like, 6 hours before realizing that you could never beat the game on your save file. And, like, that sort of thing is present in, I think, probably all of the Space Quest games. Those are all Sierra games. Yeah, Sierra was like, hard locking the game if you screw up is cool and good, actually. But to be hyper clear about this, it's not about screwing up. It's like sometimes, like, you didn't pick up a thing that was in a shadow in the background of a screen, like 25 seconds into the game, and now you can't beat it. Fate of Atlantis is a good... Fate of Atlantis is a good one. I think I technically own it in Steam. I haven't played it on stream, but I think I did beat it eventually. I definitely played a ton of it when I was a kid. Yeah, in library. This game does kind of rule. Can't not go, we're already here. It's Indiana Jones. But what if it came in Pog form? One of my favorite things about this game is it's actually like a little ahead of its time, particularly in the sense that it was a point and click adventure that actually had like 3 different branching paths on how you would do the entire story. I don't remember exactly what they are. One of them is like brute force. One of them is like partnership, or so we transitioned unceremoniously into still image. The trailer just ended abruptly. But like one is like teamwork, where like one of Indy's old flames like works together with him and like solves puzzles that way. One is like adventurer or archaeologist or independent or something, where I think he just like solo outwits the Nazis. But then there is a version of the game where you just like fight the Nazis nonstop, and like if you read the rule book, there's literally just a sucker punch button that you can use to just like defeat every Nazi instantaneously. Which I definitely did do a bunch of that when I played that game. I mean, Contradictions rules. There's a good chance I will do this for next Halloween, I think. I just haven't spelled that correctly, huh? Prediction. Now, I have only one problem with Contradiction, and it is that the game clearly did run out of budget, and so the ending kind of just like hits like a brick wall and like isn't totally satisfying. However, the game completely rules. Please behold Contradiction.
When was the last time you saw Kate Vine?
It was last Thursday in the college library. Oh, just Kate being Kate. You know, a bit wild. She had a drink problem.
Detective Inspector Jenks, Rebecca, is it?
Yeah.
There's been an unexplained death locally.
This actor's so good.
You're
I
married to
love this
Ryan,
actor.
one of the Atlas leaders, yes?
I suppose I am, yes.
It's just a business management training program for postgrads.
I believe that Kate Vine was a student at Atlas.
This is a terrible trailer for this game, by
All of
the
this has
way.
been thoroughly investigated, Inspector.
Because, and we'll watch the rest of this, but the thing that's great about this game is the absolute camp of the acting. It's unbelievably silly. The game is so goofy. They've chosen like some of the only dramatic line reads in the game to try and sell you on it, which I think just like completely misunderstands the strengths of the game that they created. Like every attempt that this actor makes in this full motion video game to like ask the other like suspects in the investigation if they've like seen random objects in his pockets are just comedy gold. So very good. This does not sell you on it. Hello?
It was
Play?
suicide.
Who is it? I'm a police officer. Detective Inspector Jenks.
Like, if you showed me
Brain
just
goes
this
back
trailer, I would have
centuries.
no interest in this game, but I promise this game rules.
This country pagans still practice it.
Oh, this is the game that first made me aware of the classic style of scrying that is mentioned in
It's
Kathy Lane
borrowed
too.
from paganism. It's the symbol of the triple goddess. The mother, maiden, and crow.
This trailer is so dramatic, it's bizarre to me.
We're a training company, we're not devil worshippers. What kind of a question is that?
He's a policeman, we can't just...
You man up and you sort it.
I heard you reacted badly to it.
Of course I reacted badly.
Now, why do you say that?
Because they're devil worshippers. They're getting people to join up, then they're putting...
I honestly can't be bothered. I promise you this game rules and is extremely funny. It's not intentionally funny. I'll be clear about that. But the game is very, very funny. Like, I bet we could get like a dozen soundboard quotes from this game. Easy. But this trailer is god-awful and it's making me upset. But I promise you Contradiction is a great game. And there's a very high chance that we play it on stream. Let's see. Psycho says, could I convince you to play a survival horror game? Technically, yes, but again, it's very important to me that you exercise your ability to remember information that I provide you for the purpose of the stream. Because this just goes back to the point of, like, if you can convince other people in chat to spend money on a survival horror game, we can and will play it. But it will only last for as long as I can be bothered to try and have an entertaining experience streaming it. And I do not historically like survival horror games at all. I'm very vocal about this. It is a genre of game that I love the design of and cannot stand to play. Little Inferno, I think I've actually beaten. Not on stream, but I remember someone, like, playing it on YouTube when it first came out, and I got fascinated with it and, like, played it on the Wii U of all things. Minute, what is Minute? You should look up. God, there's got to be a better trailer for Contradiction. That trailer blows hard, and I promise you that game is really interesting. No, that is correct. It just looks like it is spelled R-Minute. What is Minute? Well, that's interesting. I'm into the simple graphics. An adventure played a minute at a time. Hang on. Lol. That's so stupid. So I presume it's the curse that kills you after a minute, probably. Sorry, it's probably too loud. I mean, there's got to be something in the game that expands your lifespan. Otherwise, I don't know how you play that game. I mean, the only concern I have about a game like that is if, like, you feel the time pressure constantly, or if it's, like, actually made in a clever way where, like, you have to be conscious of it, but it doesn't feel, like, extremely brutal. Undertale. I'll say this. I've still never played Undertale. We could play Undertale, but if we ever play Undertale under any circumstances, I need you all to ward off the angry internet people who come out of the woodwork anytime someone plays Undertale on the internet. But this actually reminds me, I want to show you Pentiment. The reason I'm reminded of this is that, like, Pentiment and Undertale are often high on, like, internet lists of narrative video games, and I, like, hadn't heard of this until recently. The art style is, like, a little off-putting, but, like, it's super highly regarded. I don't know if it's actually any good. I don't know how loud any of these trailers are. Had that problem with Outer Wilds, yeah. Actually, I can pause trailers, huh? Yeah, like, Outer Wilds seems like a super cool game, but I've seen a little bit of it played, and, like, the pressure of, like, the incident that causes you to, like, restart feels like it would diminish my ability to enjoy that. But Keen does say it is clever in how it goes about it, and I'm inclined to put some faith in that. Yeah, but let's finish watching this. For some reason, I'm really tickled by that nun who's like, "What are you doing kissing behind the bookshelf?" I'll say I don't have a super clear idea about what's going on in this game, but like it's super highly regarded. The trailer shows like enough like individual things happening that either the game is really long or it branches really hard, and either of those like could be interesting. I'm not sold on this, but like I hear really good things about it. So like if people are interested in this is obviously something we could do. But this is another one I would say, like, if you have some interest in it, like, this is also just something I could be persuaded to do without Giftmas. Arcadia says, don't get me wrong, love Outer Wilds, but the time limit upset me, and it's why I stopped. Yeah, no, like, I didn't end up buying it or trying to play it personally, but, like, I have a similar, like, I feel like I appreciate what Outer Wilds is doing, but, like, it seems like a thing that will frustrate me more than I will be able to appreciate it playing it myself. Did you play Thank Goodness You're Here? No, I have some familiarity with it. That's a wild game. You're here.
Oh, hello there, young man.
Thank goodness, good news.
Thank goodness you're here. If you're looking for something to do.
I've been sucking this pipe all morning, and then I realised...
What did he say?
Bessie's sick as a pig.
With no meat!
Now, you gotta wait for that useless locksmith.
Florence!
Solid!
Rod!
Oh, you're messing about with that thing, are you?
You can start by getting on that mower. Don't you come back here until those hands are clutching his meat.
So it's a super weird game. I don't think I could describe to you what genre, Thank Goodness You're Here is. It's like an immersive art style game. Like you're kind of just a little guy, and people like keep telling you to do stuff, and you kind of just do it, and you just sort of like watch cartoon antics happen and experience like really weird characters. Like, it's interesting, but it's a really weird game. I guess it's like kind of point and clicky. Like, it's a certain subset of that. It's just British sex jokes for hours. That sounds about right. Like, I've seen like the Game Grumps played a little bit of it. I don't think they ended up finishing it. Demolition mentioned Trolley Solution a couple times. It sounds like something I'd probably like. It's actually on sale. Classic trolley problem. Flip the switch or not. Why is there... trolley sand? Trolley Gachi? There's clearly some weird stuff going on in this one. Reminds you of Goose Game? Do you mean Thank Goodness You're Here? There's like a little bit of Goose Game in that, I think. How much is this one? This one is not that much. I'd say this one's on sale, right? There's my calculator or something. Currently $6. Through December 18th, you can get that one for $6. I mean, that is of interest to me. Oh, you're gonna, Mary Skelter. Mary Skelter? That sounds vaguely familiar. Mary Skelter Nightmares. I don't think I know what this is, but that name is familiar. Maybe I've just heard of it. Is this Danganronpa? No, there's like swords. It looks extremely Danganronpa. The nerd. I can't stress enough how Danganronpa coded this is. This is just an anime. Okay, there's gameplay to it. Okay. Okay. Not remotely what I was expecting, but okay. Murder Hunt? I dig the aesthetic, and the sort of, what's the correct name for that? Is that like first person isometric? It's that sort of like tile coded but like Doom perspective navigation of dungeon crawler. It's always tough for me to get a sense from like a trailer how good like the battle system of an RPG is. And I feel like they kind of live or die by that for me. Like, I'm sure there are so many like JRPGs and stuff that like have like amazing stories and things that like I'll just never experience because it's just like can't get a handle on whether they'd be like fun to play at all. Facebook 1899. I don't know if I know that one. Oh, actually, this looks a little familiar. Maybe I've looked at this.
Kriminalpolizei? Warum denn das?
Yes, I have looked at this. I definitely remember like looking at this game and like not expecting it to be German and watching this trailer and then suddenly all the dialogue was German. I definitely remember looking at this.
Ah, Kommissar. Wie gut, dass Sie mich gerufen haben.
Ein Verhör, wie spannend.
Naja.
Man, if you thought that the standardization of how loud video games are, imagine shuffling through a bunch of chaotic trailers in the span of however many hours we're doing this for. Just saying, there'll be a lot of tweaking that, and I apologize if things are a little off.
Was soll denn dieser? Ah!
German screaming intensifies. Tap, tap.
Jetzt weiß ich, was wir tun müssen.
This came out this year. Actually, this came out not that long ago. When was I looking at this? I definitely watched this trailer on my own in the past. I don't remember what would have made me look at it though. Definitely seems like there's some interest in that one. Like the only reason I sort of didn't go in on it is I wasn't entirely convinced that an indie studio that was like showing signs in another language would be like fully like localized. Just I've had mixed experiences with that in the past. Definitely like more traditionally. Giftmas is kind of an interesting experiment, right? Because like you are certainly within your rights to try and expand like what we do here, to go outside the norm for this. But like again, you kind of have to you have to convince the rest of the audience who's used to watching me play stuff like this that whatever you pitch is something that they want to watch. Not Darkest Dungeon 2, Fear and Hunger. I mean, I'm not sure that the regular audience really wants to see Fear and Hunger, either of these. Also, okay, this is a serious question. I know that at least for Hunger 1, which is what the fans abbreviate the title to, Fear and Hunger, there's like a fan mod that makes that game streamable, right? Because otherwise, and this is not a joke or an exaggeration, mechanically, of mechanical relevance, many of the enemies are hanging dong. And it's like all up on the screen's business. But like you have to do that like third party, right? Like that's not built into that game. 2 is not that bad. Based on what I know about 2, it's not as bad, but like it's still there, yeah? Fear Fear and Hunger is fun. Fun is not traditionally the word that I see used. So to be clear about this, I have not played Fear and Hunger, but like I have recently become fascinated with like this subgenre of YouTube video of like retrospective / analysis / not exactly review that is presented as an extremely long video essay about mostly like horror video games. Fear and Hunger was like the first one that started this. And I've seen like 8 people do like their own take on what Fear and Hunger is. So like I know what's going on in Fear and Hunger. I'm not an expert, but like I know what it's about. I know it is an extremely brutal and harsh and grim fantasy world with lots of dicks hanging out. Any specific creators? Yeah. There's this guy like Connor Dog VA. He has like really accessible takes on these. Super Eye Patch Wolf, I think, was the first guy I saw cover it. There's someone called, what is her name? Is it just Worm Girl? She's sort of like famous for covering it. But the main thing I know her for doing is streaming Look Outside, which is a really cool game that I know Neko wanted me to look at, that I also am not convinced that this audience is super down for, because playthroughs are like really long and resource intensive and like, I don't know. But oh, is it, wait, yeah, Look Outside. It's on sale at least. The enemy designs in this game are crazy. It's kind of a survival horror RPG, which I don't think I would be good at. Haven't seen the Jason clipping shears guy. Or that clown, yikes. So to be clear, the story of Look Outside is actually really fascinating. It's this like, it's like a super weird take on like eldritch horror. Yeah, like the aesthetic has like a little bit of like a classic Maniac Mansion vibe, that's fair. But like the idea is basically just that like some bizarre like astrological thing has like occurred to make just like the sky itself like change people forever. So if you look outside at the sky, you will either like die or like become some like mutant creature of some description. And so like you just wander around your apartment building trying to survive until like I think some external source like posits that like the phenomenon like ends in 2 weeks or something like that. So the idea is to like survive that long. I think there may be different endings depending on whether you like survive that long or like actually like accomplish certain things in the building. Like the story I think is really cool. I just like, again, it's like a resource management survival horror thing. Like I just, playing those games is not typically very interesting to me, but like I really think that Look Outside is a really, really cool game. I'm a little torn on that one. Also suggested Katamari. Katamari is on the expensive side. Thomas was... Oh, no, I do know Thomas Was Alone, right? That's the one with all the shapes, right? I've seen a little bit of this played, so I kind of know what's up here. It doesn't have a trailer. So, like, it has, like, a... almost... Oh, no, it's over here. I think it is, like, an almost Stanley Parable... Stanley Parable-esque, narrator, and like he talks about all these shapes having like hopes. It's weird. The trailer probably demonstrates.
Thomas was alone. Wow, a weird first thought to have.
So you just sort of like switch between shapes and get the shapes to like cooperate to do platforming. game mechanics are fairly simple. I don't know if the story gets deep or complex over time. I haven't seen that much of it played.
Spikes? That was new. Claire avoided them. She decided they were most likely her kryptonite. Not the rubbish red kryptonite either, the proper radioactive green stuff.
I think all kryptonite is radioactive, isn't it? Just in different ways. Yeah, I feel like the narrator is like an important part of this game, but like I'm not sure I've seen enough of the story to like appreciate however far it gets. How long is this game? I have no idea. Any sense of how long that game is? No, I'm not human. You know that one? Oh, I'll be honest. I've seen a little bit of this one played. There's something about this one I'm not into. Like, if you all want to see it, like, you can convince me to play it. But you know, I give that the caution warning. I don't think this is... I don't know, that's definitely the right cover image for the game I'm thinking about. Is there something, like, different? Is there more to this game than I know? Yeah, this game, where, like... I forget the full conceit of it, but, like, basically there's, like... I don't know if they're, like, aliens or something, but there's, like, imposters, and there's, like, weird ways to tell if people are imposters, but, like, there's also just, like, people sort of, like, roaming around killing everyone because they're concerned that any random person is an imposter, so, like, you sort of welcome people into your house and hope that they're not imposters who are trying to, like, eat people or something. I don't know. Like, there's a cool idea here, but, like, between the art style and, like, it's not for me. Yeah, like... Yeah. Psycho says, I'm sure Vasco would hate this, but it might be in a funny way. Like, maybe it might be fun to watch, but, like, I don't think I would like this game, like, at all. Part of his shirt's missing. Well, it was the style at the time, you know, when the intruder aliens appeared or whatever. That's fun. That's fun for the whole family. There's all these things like checking people's like fingernails and teeth and like there's all these things that like I think as the game goes on, like you hear news reports, they're like, yeah, I don't know, we think that if your nails are like made of dirt, then you're like an imposter or something. That doesn't look great. No, that wasn't great. Yeah, I mean, I don't like the art style of this, and like, I don't know, at best it seems stressful, at worst it seems unappealing. Like, I'm not... I think this is popular, and I can see why people like it, but like it's not really like my jam, like at all. View. I know of View. I think Viewfinder might have come up last year when we did this. I think I know a little bit about. Like Viewfinder seems cool. Viewfinder strikes me as a game I may not be able to stream through Steam. Might have to like get it on PS4, which isn't like a deal breaker, just like a warning. PS5 rather. Have I played Control? I've played a little bit of Control. I haven't finished Control. I own Control. I pitched playing it for Halloween, and like not only were people not interested in playing it for Halloween, people didn't seem interested in me streaming it at all. I don't know if that's changed, but like I definitely got the vibe that no one wanted to see Control because I was like totally interested in that. Personally wouldn't want to watch that or look outside. Yeah, I mean, Look Outside is tricky because, like, I think that game is really interesting. I'm not sure it is for the landlubbers. Yeah, Control's a great vibe. Chicken Police. I've heard of Chicken Police, I think. I don't remember what that is. There's a bunch of these. Can you disambiguate? Is there like a first Chicken Police? Red. Chicken Police Red. Oh, interesting.
Have you ever been with a predator before?
Well. Small case. We'll wrap it up in no time.
What kind of case?
The kind of case where if you come with me right now, you're not on duty anymore.
What a pleasant surprise. The roaster copper's in person.
Clucking hell. Get yourself together, bird.
I appreciate a game saying 8+ hours of spoken dialogue like that matters, because to me it does.
I got a shotgun under the bar.
It's like a lot of work. You gotta hire people to do that. You gotta care about it. More than 20 cutscenes is an interesting one. I'll give you that. Not how I'm used to that being
That's exactly what
conveyed.
I was thinking. You see, what the hell could have happened here?
The last clucking color left this city years ago. And slowly I'll turn gray, too.
Not even you
It's
can see
Pleasantville,
the
but in
world as that
reverse.
Black and white.
The 9
An
o'clock
interesting
show.
concept.
With a glass of cheap bourbon. And the red gown. With the silent music. Every day the same.
Please, don't be scared. I'm just really excited.
It's dead.
I mean, I'll say this. It's like a little more like dramatic and hard-boiled than I stop hitting clock somehow. Than like tends to call out to me, but that looks good. That does look good. Chaz seems to be into that. That's an interesting one. That is $20. $20 for that. Icy. Annie's mentioned Icy a couple times. I don't think I know this one. I definitely haven't played this. I don't think I know what this is. Got kind of like a 2D transistor vibe, but it's definitely a different kind of game. Just fight, that's all, just fight. Go and fight and win. Do not think. Is this like Metroidvania or just like light platforming? The aesthetic is pretty cool. Weird way to end that. Tales Noir is another animal detective game. I mean, I don't know if that's the vibe, but maybe it is. Tales. What? Tales Noir. Why is the prologue a separate down? Why? I'm immediately slightly off put by this distribution of story, but I'll set that aside. No, it's not demo. Look, well, it was showing. You're saying Tales Noir is prologue. It's a free prologue, which is distinct from demo, and then Preludes, which I also don't think is a demo. Prelude is the demo? Then why is it Prelude and not a dem? Like, there's a whole, like, Steam store mechanic for demos. That's confusing and off-putting. Wait, I'm sorry. Icy is a Stanley Parable type game, and the trailer doesn't show it at all? Well, I'll agree with you on that second part for sure. Not that we haven't seen misleading trailers just tonight alone, but, like, that's wild. I do not remotely get the impression from that trailer that that's the type of game that is. That's crazy. That's as bad as the Contradiction one, which I think that's an awful trailer. Ooh. The vibes are impeccable. It's always funny to me in like anthropomorphic worlds when like there's like a man raccoon is feeding a pigeon, like a regular pigeon. Like I don't think this is a hot take, but like it's just funny. I don't care who you are, that's funny. It looks like a touch, like a taste of Disco Elysium maybe with those dialogue options. Not like the full-on voices in the head, but like I don't know, the way it's presented kind of looks. Raccoon's having a rough night. Raw Fury. What do I know Raw Fury from? Something came out recently that was from Raw Fury that I think we were playing on stream. I already can't remember. Wait, was it Kathy Rain? Was Kathy Rain a Raw Fury game? Maybe. Architecture is fantastic. I know some of those just shots of the city are like really impressive. I mean, it seems like a kind of a grody place to live, but like just so atmospheric. I mean, God. Citizen Sleeper 2 maybe? I will say I like Citizen Sleeper. I have respect for Citizen Sleeper. I'm not sure I loved Citizen Sleeper, and I'm not sure that chat loved Citizen Sleeper. Also, I remember when I played Citizen Sleeper, a buddy of mine was telling me a little bit about like some of the game mechanics in 2, and I don't remember all the specifics, but I remember it sounding like a little more tedious. It feels like very similar so far, just in terms of mechanics. Obviously, the story is different. Game confused you mechanic-wise. There's definitely a few things that I think could be responsible for that, yeah. I should say the Citizen Sleeper games are at their best in the endings. I think that's fair, but I think this sort of calls to mind like like when I played Slay the Princess at like leading up to Halloween this year, I found that like it really didn't resonate with me. And it's not that I necessarily think the game is bad at all, but like exactly what Keen says. That means you need to get through the game to see that part. And the problem is just if your narrative game is so focused on the ending that the journey itself isn't compelling, then you have a problem. And that is what I felt with Slay the Princess. And it's particularly just the way that they framed the mechanics where like, if I want to see a second ending, I have to go through like a whole bunch of tedious malarkey, which like, if it's easy or fun to do, to just like quickly experience another ending, then that can be fun to explore the different endings. If it sounds like homework to do even a second playthrough, you've got yourself a problem. And, you know, that's a fully subjective thing. And I think I'm in a minority of like Slay the Princess not meshing with me. And like maybe that's part of why I wasn't totally blown away with Citizen Sleeper 1. Maybe it has something to do with that. I don't know. And it's not that the gameplay of Citizen Sleeper was like bad, but it's kind of like clinical. Like, I'm not a stranger to like dice rolling or strategic things or things of that nature, but like it just feels like the gameplay isn't you like doing anything. And I guess part of the issue on some level, I guess, is like if your ability to get the ending you're working on is like non-deterministic, that's kind of a bummer, right? Like if your dice rolls just like don't work out so that you like finish repairing the ship in time or something like that kind of sucks. So like, I don't know, the dice rolling mechanic is like an interesting pair with the narrative game. Vasco said, my main issue with Slay the Princess is that the ending was like, okay, so that was all weird and vague, right? Cool, so here's a really long expository blurb of literally everything going on in the entire story. Yeah, I do feel like I had that experience too, and was underwhelmed by that. Because, like, none of it felt like it, very little of it felt like it developed organically from the experience of, like, seeing the interactions of those characters in that story leading up to the exposition. It just felt like they made it weird for weird's sake, and then they're like, by the way, here's like basically what it means, but there's still like ambiguity. So like the nerds who make those like 3-hour YouTube videos that Vasco likes have something to talk about. Did we reach the Slay the Princess? For sure. And this made me a little crazy too, is and this is like a personal gripe, and I won't pretend it's not. But, like, we got to the end of Slay the Princess, a game multiple people, like, strongly suggested that I play. And we reached a point where I was like, well, I don't know, should we, like, finish, like, I reached what felt like a natural sort of breaking point, like, toward the end of a stream, and was like, should we, like, finish this now, or should we, like, do it next week? And everyone's like, if you do one more run, like, then you, like, finish the story. You should do it now. And, like, no one was paying attention at all. So, like, credits are rolling, and I was like, I feel like I didn't love that ending. And everyone in chat was like, what ending did you get? And I'm like, what do you mean, what ending did I get? You were here. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. The main appeal to Slay the Princess is the art style. I'm not sure I agree with that. Like, I think the art style is appealing. I think that the way it presents the story is cool and engaging, but like, here's I think the big problem for me, and maybe I'm honestly wrong, or maybe I'm not articulating it well, but like, I think the issue is that there's almost too much like nuance in some of the distinctions in like the choices that change the paths. So, like, I don't even know if I'm doing something different at times until I reach a point that the game has, like, grayed out an option is like, lol, no, you've done this one. Like, I feel like that should be clearer, and I feel like there should just be more distinction, so I'm like, ooh, like, what if I do this different? Rather than, like, I guess I can try doing this different? Like, that was kind of, like, when I was wrestling with the idea of like, should I try a second playthrough? Like, that was where I sort of ended up, was like, it wasn't like I was excited to see these new possibilities. I was like, I felt more like I was struggling to figure out what I could do different to get a different outcome. And as minute as that might sound, to me, that was like a huge difference. My defense, how is that work while you're finishing Slay the Princess? Like, that's fine. Like, no one needs to feel bad about that, but, like, I can't say that it helped my impression, is that, like, people don't remember that we, like, finished it, and, like, people who were watching the stream at the time were like, what ending did we get? I'm like, I don't know, I just played it the first time. It was confusing and weird. I just broke the glass with the crow's face on it for, like, 30 minutes, and then, like, my like girlfriend made out of hands yelled at me and I felt weird about it and I wanted to stop playing the game. Like, did you ever play Storyteller? Oh yeah, we streamed Storyteller, didn't we? Isn't that the I think yeah. We streamed this one. I don't know if they added anything. I feel like Ditto might have said that that they added something to this at some point. I may not have done like whatever add-on content that was. We definitely played this one. What are some of the front runners? Great question. There's some mild interest in Pentiment. I wouldn't say that's a front runner. Dispatch definitely has some following. I don't get the sense that Date Everything was contentious. Can those present in chat clarify how we feel about Date Everything? While we do that, I'm gonna bring up Escape from Mistwood Mansion. This was just very interesting to me. I'm kind of just curious what the vibes on this are, because I only heard about this today. It was just like, it was like somewhere in my recommended, and it has like a real like Blueprints vibe. It looks like blueprints made by people who maybe aren't psychotic, and I'm like, that sounds appealing. My only problem with Blueprints is it was made by psychos. Blake Manor I'm somewhat into. To be honest, like, my first like blush impression, having watched in close succession Escape from Mistwood Manor and Seance of Blake Manor, to me, Escape from Mistwood Mansion looks like a more interesting version of a similar idea, but I'll let you decide. So, you know, like 3D environment, like moving things around the house, solving basic puzzles. I don't know if it's any good, but it looks like it captures like some of the core things that are interesting about Blueprints. Not obviously the roguelite drafting stuff, but you know, that had its own problems in the end. Oh, that's fun. Someone's watching. Chat, they've become aware of you. I don't know. I've never heard of this game before today. It has positive reviews. Apparently it's been out since 2023. I've never heard of it. Which is interesting, because again, like, it feels like it has a lot of the DNA of Blueprints in it. That's so interesting. Jakey says, Dating Sim doesn't feel like it fits the channel vibes. Mystery is apparently strong agrees. I know Zacula disagrees. I don't know. Like, I mean, we have played some dating sims on the channel. I think the only ones we played are Boyfriend Dungeon and Hatful Boyfriend. Hatful Boyfriend was a long time ago, and we've had a lot of new people come around since then. Again, I'm not opposed to the concept, but like, you kind of have to be careful with dating sims because some of them are just like gross or weird. Yeah, the strong frontrunners are like Chicken Detective Red and what the heck was the other one called? Noir Tales, spelled the other way. Tales Noir. There's 5 Hearts Under One Roof, which I know Zacula desperately wants, and no one other than me seems swayed by his arguments. I actually want to check out on here. Someone, I apologize, forget who, but someone at the start of the stream was like, did you know that the Quern people made a new game? And I didn't. It's apparently this. It's this? I don't know why that didn't work. Oh, it's not out? Q1 2026? Still good to know about. I'm not gonna not watch it. I love that they actually call out from the developers of Quern as if someone other than me has played Quern undying thoughts.
Ravenstone, museum curator.
Ooh,
It's been a while
okay.
since someone new came around.
Huh.
Reason for your visit?
I'm looking for my uncle. He went missing.
He's always been a little strange, if you don't mind me saying.
It's locked.
Welcome to Dimhaven. Please complete our mandatory survey before proceeding to the visa office.
Curiosity was a fire, Miss Ravenstone. Most people get burned.
Reach out when you have a safe line.
You have no idea how much danger you're in.
Well, that's definitely interesting. I mean, unfortunately, you gotta be careful with the Quern folks, because they're a little crazy too. They're not Blue Prince level of psychotic, but the Quern folks were not kidding around when it came to making some of their puzzles insanely annoying. What's the game where you went to Academy about escape rooms? I don't know if I know what that is. Escape Academy. Well, I mean, Escape Academy would be a logical name for it. I'll say, before we watch this trailer, I'm going to say this. I've seen like a handful of people make things that are just like basically escape room 3D simulations, and they usually seem like clunky as heck and like not satisfying. I'm not saying that this game is that, but like, if you wonder why I am an escape room enthusiast and I haven't gone to the trouble of playing a lot of escape room games on the stream, that would be why.
Congratulations! You've been accepted to Escape Academy.
I don't even know why we put locks on the doors here.
It appears you do excel in one area. Failure.
It's all gonna be fine. It's all gonna be fine.
Is this mandatory co-op? It compares it to It Takes
There's
Two.
only one way to find out. Welcome to the Academy.
A little interesting. I don't know. The escape I need is Ape Escape, not Grape Escape. The board game where you make a little grape out of clay and then smash them with weird mousetrap-esque contraptions. What's Wajidai do? Well, I'll tell you this. I actually have some Wajidai games in my library that we still haven't played on stream. Can you just search developers on here? Probably, right? I mean, Old Skies is their most recent one, which we did play on stream when it came out. I mean, like, look at this catalog. Look how few of these games I don't already possess. Do I know what Golden Wake is at all? Hello? This doesn't sound or look familiar to me.
Alfred Bank.
Wait, is Wajidai and Grundislav? Isn't Grundislav Lamplight City and Rosewater? I don't think I was aware they had collaborated on something.
This is the name, and real estate is my game.
I knew there was something special about you the minute you stepped off that train, kid.
Miami, eh?
Look, it's set in
I've always heard
Florida.
that place was nothing more than glorified swampland.
People are buying left and right. It's a great time to be in real estate.
Oh,
When
wow.
I came down here, my goal was to succeed like my father. When I'm finished, the name Banks will finally mean something again.
What say you leave that real estate baloney behind, then come work for me?
What are you doing?
It's so funny to me how many adventure games love to show, like, violence. I guess they're trying to get, like, the sense that there's, like, action in a puzzle game, but, like, if you take in aggregate, like, all these trailers for, like, point-and-click adventure games, they're always showing people getting, like, punched and stuff, and it's just really funny because these games are very rarely focused about that.
Mark my words, Banks. We're on the verge of something great.
What the heck is this? That looks
You're
weird.
going to do wonders for us.
Well, that's interesting.
There never seems to be a dull moment with you around.
So what do you say?
Not what I was expecting from the trailer.
Do we have a deal?
Zeka says last Watch game I played was Unavowed, I think. I feel like that was their last, like, really... I mean, I guess in fairness, Unavowed is just my favorite of their games. We did play through all the Blackwell saga last year, and those were a real mixed bag. Does Gemini really date back before that? I don't think that's actually technically correct. But Zeka also says, I think Unavowed is how I found you, because I was streaming it at the time and rated you at the end of one of my streams. You know what? That does sound probably right. That is probably right. I remember, I think I watched Mostly Walking play some of Resonance, and they didn't finish it, but that one actually, like, seemed a little interesting. If I remember my,
Did someone say...
Watch it on more correctly. Oh, hold on. I feel like we very rarely randomize the violin one.
Ole!
If I remember my Watch It I lore correctly, I think the Shiva is the first game that... Oh, what's his name? Why am I blanking on it? The guy who does all the in-house Watch It I games. David something? I think it's the first game he ever did was Shiva. And then I feel like Blackwell was second, so I don't think these release dates are in, like, order of when these were made. Is really the crux
Local
of it.
mariachi Pedro.
How did you do that? I want to be clear that Cotillion just redeemed the birthday song sound effect, which is a reference to a specific character from Sam and Max, the
He's
mariachi
the guy who
Pedro.
invented Skynet, isn't he?
But the sound effect for the local mariachi Pedro comes from Name Game, which has at the time of recording over 100 distinct. There's like a slightly less than 1% chance of redeeming that and getting it to say Pedro immediately after doing that. That's extremely weird.
I'm telling you, it's Kagami.
And now I'm not sure. Oh, I see, because I don't remember the name of the guy. I understand. I get it. Why am I hitting back? What good do I think that's going to do me? Lord Winklebottom. By the way, at any point, chat, you are empowered to, with your collective bargaining, just declare winners of we can all agree on something. Because again, you're sort of in charge. More talking animals.
Nobody's dead. The most is dead.
This is a case for me, Lord Winklebottom, the great detective. A giraffe detective.
Okay, hold on. I feel like we've tremendously buried the lead. After all this time, someone is just now telling me there's a giraffe detective game?
Journey to a mysterious island and investigate a grisly murder.
Giraffe.
You'll have to get him out of there if I'm to do an autopsy. Can't very well determine the cause of death just by...
That hippo's name is Dr. Crumple?
Interrogate a cast of unusual suspects. Search
Giraffe.
for clues and solve fiendish puzzles.
Are you sure you know what you're doing? The Guilfrey estate will not be held liable for any damage or injury caused by incorrect operation of that device, you know.
My word, this plant really does look frightfully tasty.
God, even in the trailer, the audio balance is kind of all over the place, huh? Well, that sure is something. I don't know if that's any good, but there's something appealing about it. We're just talking about... When are we not talking about giraffes? That ever happen? Oh, hang on. Let me show you one.
Giraffe.
I think there's really only one other one on my list that's like super worth pointing out that we haven't looked at or already discussed to some capacity. This was in like my recommended feed today. Never heard of this. Don't know when it came out. Looks a little interesting. I want to read you the Steam page when we're done with it, or some part of it. It is called Little Problems, a cozy detective game. So according to the description on this, what did I even accomplish? Little Problems is a cozy detective game about solving minor inconveniences, everyday misunderstandings, and of course, little problems. Not about saving the world, it's about enriching it one case at a time. I think that's really cute. I don't know if that's something chat is interested in. I don't know if that's like a maybe for later, but like I thought it was worth bringing up because you don't see that every day. Yeah, I kind of figured that'd be up your alley, Demolition. I certainly like the concept behind it. I don't know enough about it to know if it's particularly good, but obviously it's got positive reviews recently. But yeah, I like that idea. Yeah, I definitely think. I mean, like it's this is kind of hyperbolic in response to that, but like generally I do feel like there's too much pressure from some nebulous force to have like every like TV show and movie have like incredibly high stakes. But like to me, one of the more grating examples in recent history is like the people who are in charge of writing the new Star Trek, which I'm gonna take the radical stance that it is largely, if not entirely bad. Those folks just insist that every single problem has to be like a huge like galactic crisis, which is like antithetical to like how the storytelling worked in old Star Trek. It's not that there were never high stakes, but like the point of Star Trek was more about like, you know, kind of like misunderstandings and clashes of cultures on like a local level. It's like diplomacy and diplomacy gone wrong, and then like how do we get out of this while like respecting their culture and stuff like that. And now they're like, evil exists, pew pew bang bang, shooty gun, and it's like, no, you're wrong, you're incorrect. That's interesting. Zacula says, dig this, not as much Chicken Detective. I didn't get the sense you didn't like Chicken Detective. Okay, hey, Demolition, you want to make me like a, I don't know, dealer's choice duration poll to get a sense of like whether everyone is in agreement on Chicken Detective? It doesn't have to be literally 100% unanimous, but if the vast majority of folks are into it, we can at least allocate those funds and know that we're what we have to work with. Yeah, Vasco hating new Star Trek is easy free space on your bingo card, but only the new Star Trek. Old Star like all, maybe that's too broad a statement, but like Star Trek before Enterprise I like. Allegedly, Enterprise eventually gets good. I did not endure enough of the not good seasons that people agree aren't good to have reached whatever point that allegedly happens during. Yeah. The only other thing I have on my list that we haven't looked at is something I think I'm just going to make the executive decision. I'm not even going to mention now. I'm just going to do it in the new year. I think you'll all like it, and I won't bother like spoiling it. Yeah, with this. It's been so long since I've done poll. How do you do poll? I feel like it didn't used to be hard, and now this feels hard. Riveting stuff. Be under rewards, that doesn't make sense. I've become stupid. I don't remember how to do this. I feel like this used to be super easy, barely an inconvenience. Slash. Yeah, even just the fact that this like completely overlays. I feel like they definitely made this interface worse. Oh, don't worry about it, Demolition. If you haven't already done it, I'll handle it. The duration. How about like 5 minutes? People can make cases if they really want to in 5 minutes. Oh no, sorry for talking past each other. I feel like, I swear to God, didn't it used to be like, did there used to be like an option that was just like outside of the I don't know, it was like buy options or like buy channel points or something, where there was just like a button and you click it and bring up the poll. Like, I feel like it didn't used to suck, and now it kind of reeks. By the way, while you all are enjoying that poll, I'll take this moment to point out my Christmas Charlie Brown shirt, which again I was planning to bust out one of these donuts, but I think I'll die on stream. I don't think I should do that. I drank too many calories today. They removed it this summer. Why did they do that? They hate fun? Are they the psychos that brought us Blueprint? I hope that when those folks develop a second game, their trailer starts with "from the psychos who brought you Blueprints." That's what I wanted to say. Dying on stream is against terms of service. I think that's true. I'm not certain that's true. Is actually confirmed against terms of service. Red Prince is their new game. I mean, that I might expect that to be true, except for the fact that like Red Prince with the C was like already such an integral part of the game that I doubt that they would go so far on the nose. Hey, correct me if I'm wrong though. I feel like sleeping on stream used to be against terms of service, and I have the impression it's not anymore, and that feels weird to me. Because I feel like the argument they used to make is that they didn't want people sleeping on stream because they felt that it promoted like an unhealthy habit of like encouraging people to like stream until like they dropped, and so like they were against it. But I feel like now they're okay with that or something. Because like I feel like I've seen people like openly talking about that like happening on stream, like it's not something that would get you banned. I mean, I don't want to sleep on stream. I do agree that it's, I don't know, creepy might be overstating it, but it's definitely unsettling at best. Casey Neistat got 8 hours rest and got huge from it. Like, they got, like, internet famous for sleeping on stream, and they didn't get banned. Like, that's kind of the thing, right? Zaka says, I think if the Blueprints guys make another game, they should at minimum be forced to hire 5 normal people on the team. No shot. No shot that's happening. It's on YouTube, too. I assume they have similar, but certainly not the same restrictions. To be real, if I find out that someone I know watches someone sleep on stream, I would stop hanging out with them. That's honestly like not as dramatic a take as it seems like it should be, I think. Like, I feel like that's kind of like a normal way to behave. I think I gotta recenter this camera. I'm not gonna do it because I don't want to do it live, but like I feel like it's framed too far in the other direction. But that's a post effect. The camera doesn't move because then I get more headaches. Blueprints' creator's next game isn't in the universe or a puzzle game. Not surprised to know that they don't intend to continue in universe. Like, I could imagine that happening, but I feel like considering the lunacy that went into Blueprints, it would be more surprising to me if they wanted to spend more time in that universe than to like divorce themselves from it. But it not being a puzzle game, that actually is a little interesting. Got a year to get Blueprints patch 1.10 out, and then he's moving on. I mean, that feels self-imposed at best. All right, so there are only 5 votes on the current poll, and they're all in the affirmative that Chicken Detective Red is a lock. Let me just write down, I think that was $20. Oh, God, rain code. I guess it's not actually called. Did I misspell something? Just Steam figured out. I'm tired. I don't know why you made that hard. It's clearly close enough. Shut up, loud game. $20. So we got $20 to play with, fam. Now, if you want, it can be Noir. I think, how much was Noir Tales? Oh, that's tricky. It's 25 for that full game, huh? Where's the poll? Somewhere overlaying chat. It is closed. I'm pretty sure even one negative vote at this point would not negate the otherwise unanimous. Yeah, it does feel like Chicken Detective probably represents genre. Well, we got $20. How much was... There's some interesting. Technically, Seance of Blake Manor would fit in that.
Secrets are...
I don't know if anyone wants to, like, nominate poll or something. Yeah, like, we can revisit Tales Noir. I'll put, God, doesn't one of these notepads have a list of stuff I should play later? Ah, it doesn't actually, huh? I guess I only have something like that on my phone. I really thought I added that to one of these. Doesn't look like it. Unless it's at the bottom of Blueprints, that can't be right. There's no shot I would have done that. Oh no, I put it in the one I wouldn't think. I think this list might have come from... Yes, I still have a list of things we were looking at last year for Giftmas, including mouthwashing, which is a tough sell. I don't care for mouthwashing. I think that game is like way overappreciated personally. Signal. I know I should know what Signalis is. When I look at it, I'll probably know. Mouthwashing is bad. Ooh, I love to hear it, Jakey. No one ever says stuff like that. I don't much care. People like keep tripping over themselves to talk about how great mouthwashing is, and I'm like, I don't know. It's kind of just a front door story about how much one guy in particular sucks. I don't know why everyone loves it so much. It seems cool. It does seem a little survival horror, and there's a gamble with that. Was someone asking something about contradiction? Were you saying the trailer for the FM? Yes. To answer that, my mom addressed this also in chat, but yes, Cotillion, the trailer for Contradiction absolutely sucks because it really doesn't convey what I think is fun about that game, which isn't like they think that game is super serious, and I regret to inform them that game is not serious at all. That game is extremely silly and is like unintentionally absolutely hilarious, but the trailer is like, look at the drama. And I'm like, wrong, incorrect. You do not know the game that you made. $5 hole can we plug with trolley? Wasn't it technically 6? The trolley solution. It's technically 6. I might count that as a rounding error. We'll see. We'll see what we come up with. How about Contradiction? How much is Contradiction actually at retail price? Does fit.
When was
$13, huh? You don't happen to have like another trailer that's like actually honest? No honest trailer for Contradiction. Do we have like reviews? Just trying to see if any of the reviews don't seem to really capture it either. Do I already know Contradiction? Kind of. I mean, I guess I'll put it this way. I've technically seen it played through twice, because it's like a darling of this FMV stream channel that I sometimes watch. I try not to watch it too much because I do kind of have interest in playing some of those games. But like, someone recommended this game to them and they didn't really know what it was, and they played it, and it's like, it's bonkers, man. This game is so weird. And then there was like a point where like one of the two people who like normally host that show was out sick, and they were gonna play like a completely separate game with like a fill-in host. And then like the regular host who was still there like found out the guest host hadn't played Contradiction. They're like, oh, screw that, we're playing Contradiction right now. Where did we land on Tales Noir? It sounds like Tales Noir is on hold. It seems like people are more interested in Chicken Detective, and Tales Noir does not fit in the budget alongside Chicken Detective. So we may revisit Tales Noir at another time. I mean, I will put this out there though, in terms of Contradiction. Like, Contradiction is like on short list of things to play. I mean, it's not really that spooky. It might be like a September game, the way that like Slay the Princess led into Halloween this year. I might do it for that. I think it's only like it's maybe like an 8-hour game or something. Here's a thing we can do for fun, because I'm not seeing a lot of news suggesting one way or the other. I love that the first thing in FMV tag is 5 Hearts Under One Roof 2. That makes me really happy. I know Chad is at best on the fence about this, but I legitimately think that 5 Hearts Under One Roof is good. I think it's good stuff. I don't know that many FMV games that, like, I don't know. I feel like FMV is at its best if it's done like, what's this guy, Sam Barlow? He does like super great, like, serious FMV games. But like, if you can't do like a super awesome auteur FMV game like Her Story or like Immortality, I feel like you're better off doing like absolute jank, like the stuff that came out in the 90s. Like Ripper, which has Christopher Walken in it. Oh man, that's another one that people love to make YouTube videos about. Complex. I forget if the Complex is one I've watched that FMV stream do. When did this come out? Hold on, before we watch 2020. Might have seen this.
We stand on the precipice of history. Our teams have been working with some of the country's top scientists.
We need proper assurances about these nanocells, Dr. Tennant.
Why should we continue to bankroll someone so young?
All I can ask is that you trust me. I will deliver.
We need to get you on the scene immediately.
Scene? How? Nothing leaves or enters the lab without us knowing about it.
The safety of London is paramount. We can't risk a bug getting into the city.
Help me!
Time is running out.
Unnecessarily loud.
Depleted. There's only one vial left. What are you going to do?
It's like a front door dilemma.
The nanocells cannot fall into the wrong hands.
Make a decision.
Bring this together.
I trust you.
This game might as well be a TV series. I mean, that in a way, that's kind of the point, right? Like, in this hypothetical spectrum that I propose, I feel like TV series quality FMVs are worthwhile because it feels like you're playing a TV show and that kind of rules. Like, super janky FMVs are fun because they're so stupid that, like, no other medium could convey that story the same way. Like, mediocre FMV games, like, not great. Like, not... They just can be done better by other things. But yes, apparently this concept is not necessarily clear to everyone. I'm taking that for granted. So FMV stands for full motion video. The thing that sets a full motion video game apart from other video games is that, like, its story is conveyed in, like, actual video clips with actors, like Earth people, not CG people, not motion capture renders of Earth people or famous actors or something like that. Actual paid actors on the planet Earth.
I'm not a murderer. How do I save them both?
You got one vial, girl. I know that Neko has a strong stance against FMV games. I legitimately think Neko might like Contradiction in particular. I don't know who the lady from Scary Movie is. I cannot help on that, Zach. This looks cool, but also stressful. Maybe. I mean, I think much like Telltale games, I think the choices have like a timer, it looks like. And like, it varies quite a bit by game. There's a lot of, like the Telltale games. There are like imitators of Telltale games. There's other like FMV narrative-driven games where like choices happen on a timer. And like, it really varies pretty wildly between those, whether like it feels like there's an adequate amount of time to make a reasonably informed decision. How much is Complex? Complex is at 15. There's sure, boy, the Mega FMV bundle. I kind of just want to know what is in the Mega FMV bundle. Late Shift I know a little bit about. I think... Oh no, yeah, 5 Dates is like... I think it is a British-made FMV dating sim. Boy, I forgot about this. I think this released like near the start of the pandemic. And like the whole conceit is that like they were able to film it because the whole thing is done through like webcams, so like there never needed to be the conceit of like people getting together. This is a medium game. Bloodshore I've heard of recently, don't know anything about. Isle Tide Motel is one I also heard about recently. I've heard of I Saw Black Clouds. I don't know that I know what that is. Shapeshifting Detective, I know. It's a weird one. Have you played any Nancy Drew game? No. There's got to be like a billion of them, right? I mean, honk me. How would you pick a Nancy Drew game? I've seen one Nancy Drew game played basically in its entirety, and it's whatever one happens in Japan. Unless there's more than one of those, in which case I don't think I remember enough to help you out. But I have, of course, seen the one that the Game Grumps famously played with that, like, cowboy who falls asleep and then, like, wakes up and shoots a guy and misses and all that whole running gag. I don't remember which one that one is. I think it takes place in some, like, Scandinavian country or something bizarre. Like Sleeves a Duck Cat. I don't know why Sakula is so obsessed with game about digging a hole. Like, I know a game about digging a hole. I don't know what's so exciting about the game about digging a hole. Look at the game about digging a hole. Yeah, it's kind of a gag game. I don't think this is a viable candidate because I think it's supposed to be like streamer bait, and like I know what happens at the end. Because like every YouTuber that I follow has played this game already. Yeah, like the point is they're like, what happens when you dig to the bottom of the thing? And like, I know what happens when you dig to the bottom of the thing. But like, other than that, I think it's really just meant for people who are super big into like Power Wash Simulator, and like, I'm not really that crowd. I mean, if you want, I mean, it's your show. If you want to, just, I don't know. Like, I just want to be super clear about this. The gameplay is digging a hole. The gameplay is digging a hole. You will dig the hole, and you will get to the bottom of the hole, and then the game will be done. Are there, who's asked about Nancy Drew? Jakey, is there like a particular Nancy Drew game that you would recommend like looking at in particular? Like, I know they have like puzzle elements. I assume that they run a gamut of like, some of them have probably a good combination and some of them maybe aren't so good. But to be clear, it is on sale if you want a game about digging a hole. Well, I don't see a consensus. I'm not really seeing further suggestions. Sagula admits, a game about digging a hole I could take or leave. I just like saying it. That's okay. That's good to know. You know what? There is some interest in Complex. We could try Complex. We do Chicken and Blake. That, it sounds like you made that up. What is Did you make that up? Don't just say words. Listen, I don't know every video game that's ever been made, Demolition. If you're just gonna say like random. Oh, you're okay. So you're nominating Blake Manor, is what you're saying. That seems viable. Well, I was trying to ask someone if there was a particular Nancy Drew game we could look at a trailer for, and the answer is basically no. There's 20. Pick one. You know what? Sure. For the sake of argument, just for the sake of argument. Okay. I'm just skimming these for a title that really calls out to me. Now we're in soundtrack territory and demo territory. There's maybe not as many of these as I thought. I'm going to go Haunted Carousel. No trailer. None trailer. Screenshots. All right. Oh, no, hold on. Task failed unsuccessfully. Found it at the end.
E for everyone.
I'm guessing this one is super old.
It's up to you, is Nancy Drew.
Dear Ned, well, here I am at Captain's Cove Amusement Park, about to try to figure out what's behind all the weird things that have been happening.
Oh, that's right.
Lately.
It's got the voice actress from America's Next Top Model.
Disappeared off the carousel one night. Then a little later, the carousel started spinning around all by itself in the dead of night, as if it was haunted or something. And then last week, the roller coaster suddenly stopped in mid-ride for no apparent reason.
Hey, Nancy, what's up?
That's a real human being for sure. That's definitely what people look like, right?
I am Miles, the magnificent memory machine.
That one's also a person. It's equally a person to the last guy. What the heck? I mean, I'll say that, like, relatively speaking, this is a level of jank that is
hiding something.
Maybe nearly comparable to the FMV sword I was talking about.
And very dark.
What do you mean you can't with these line reads? This is exactly how everything should sound. This is real human emotion. Did someone throw that pufferfish at her?
Ow! I'm trapped! If I don't move, I'm gonna get skewered.
That felt unintentionally funny. Where, like, basically, like, an entire, like, section of railroad track fell on her foot, and she's like, ow, I'm stuck! Like, I think your foot's dead, sister. What's the compatibility of this is both a really funny question in response to that trailer and also an extremely valid question. This game's from 2003. I have no earthly idea. I really don't know. Is there like a quick way to tell that from the Steam page? I feel like there isn't, right? It would work. You played Captive Curse on Windows 10. Hold on, let's see what your Captive Curse is from. Also, Captive Curse could have been a valid answer to the question earlier. Captive Curse is 8 years more recent, to be fair. There's a gap of 8 years there. I'm not sure that translates 1-to-1. Okay, didn't enjoy it. Okay, that's a fair reason not to bring it up. Let's see. Continue to ask if there are any Poirot games where we can solve crimes and act superior to everyone else. I mean, there's a decent number of like adventure games that sort of work that way. I mean, there are some Agatha Christie video games. Some of them are definitely Poirot. I feel like I've heard good things about at least one of these, but I sure couldn't tell you which one. I mean, presumably the first one is Hercule Poirot, The First Cases. I don't even know if these are actually a series.
Every family.
Just looking for a trailer.
Its secrets. Its stories. Its wounds. Its jealousies.
I know you were kidding, but like you say, let's see what they're like.
Secrets can lead too far.
I'm kind of into this art stuff.
Even to the point of murder.
The Major has been murdered in his study.
It was no simple murder. To unravel the mysteries of this family,
You have no right.
he will have to uncover hatreds, resentments,
You never deserved him.
rivalries,
Still a killer in the house.
and distinguish between the true and the false.
It is not the crime of murder that you all believe.
This investigation will remain among those that forged his legend.
Detective, what is the meaning of all this?
This is Detective Hercule Poirot, and this is one of his very first cases.
Jeez, this is gonna make for a juicy story.
This can't be Poirot. His mustache isn't funny at all. I do think that is the correct metric.
What a revelation.
2021, that's interesting. It's more recent than I would have expected.
Has its
What
secrets.
weird thing did I do? I somehow triggered 2 trailers at once. I'm incredibly powerful. Is this just Clue? No, I mean, I think there's like a deterministic correct answer, and you're just supposed to like interrogate them and get Clue. I could be wrong, but like if it's really Agatha Christie inspired, whether or not this is actually an Agatha Christie story or just sort of like inspired by the character of Hercule Poirot, is probably the case that like there is a correct answer and you're supposed to actually figure it out. Clue obviously could be anyone and you just shuffle the stuff around. Sometimes it's even a musical. I saw Clue the musical not extremely long after moving here last year. That was an interesting experience. No, I agree. Like that actually was kind of interesting. Sounds like fun. Yeah, I mean, Clue the Musical is one of the interesting things about Clue the Musical is that you can actually win at Clue the Musical, which I did do. I did manage to win at Clue the Musical. I'd never heard of Clue the Musical. Like, I thought it was just some like hokey like local thing that like the local theater just like did on a whim. But like after the fact, I think I read that like it originated in like London's West End. Like it's like a real thing. I was like, all right. I mean, if you insist. There were a couple of actors who did the version I saw that I really liked. I mean, everyone in it did a good job. Some of the characters were hamming it up a little more than others, but I think overall it was effective. I'm sure it was called Cluedo the Musical. I mean, presumably that's correct. Okay, so let's take another look at Blake Manor. There was some consensus on that. I guess because it's been like at least an hour and a half. Let's watch the trailer again, and then maybe I'll put up a poll for this, unless someone like voices something else that has more immediate sense of support to try and vote on.
Hiding here in Blake Manor. And where is Evelyn Dean? Time is running out.
Miss Dean didn't leave the hotel, and somebody wants us to think that she did.
I really need to sort that mess out.
I'm at my wits' end, Declan Ward.
I mean, that guy he's having a bad day, that one guy in particular. Oh, hold on. Hang on. I really need to draw your attention to the fact that the developer of this game is Spooky Doorway. That's really good. And I need you to know that they named their company Spooky Doorway, and then they made a game called The Seance of Blake Manor. It's important to me that you understand that this fact is, as far as Steam is aware, true and accurate. Okay, now that we've established that, it does seem like chat's digging that. How about we do... hold on. This would be, I mean, it's pretty much like we would have 2 cents. I don't think it's possible to get any real, like, I bet you can get a game for a cent on here, but I also bet it would be so horrible you genuinely don't even want to see it played. I'll tell you what, do I get a second nomination for The Complex over The Seance of Blake Manor? If I can get a second nomination, I'll put it up to a direct head-to-head vote. Otherwise, I will put up a poll for Seance of Blake Manor as final answer. Going once. Going twice. Going to /poll now. Wasn't that Banana Game 1 cent? Which banana game? I forget how I phrased this before. Is Seance of Blake Manor a locked winner? Something like that. Yes. No. 5 minutes. Gunna fight match. Ready, go! For 2 cents, Frog Fractions counts. Isn't Frog Fractions just like a complete meme? It's too many frog games. I mean, I might argue that free is against the spirit of the exercise, because then you could just spend like the entirety of the stream finding free games, and that kind of sounds miserable for everyone. But I'll still take that under advisement. I will say that what I do know about Frog Fractions, I'm inclined to agree with Jakey that, like, the game is kind of just like a galactic level troll, which on some level is, like, I get the joke and I appreciate it, but, like, also, I mean, okay, well, while we're waiting for that poll, feel free to vote on that poll. I'll apparently there is the trailer we can watch for, although, you know what? Based on what I know about the game, I'm sure that this is a misleading trailer. I don't know why I'd even bother to put this on. Game of the Decade Edition. I'm curious if that's even remotely true. It could be. Do you like eating bugs? This game is free. It costs 0 cents. Upgrade that tongue, ladies. You know what this game's talking about. Meet a turtle friend. Yeah, that's right. You can move around on the turtle. Frog Fractions teaches typing. Did forget that was part of it. Yeah. Riding around on this dragon isn't swag enough for ya. Ooh, then what do you got in store for me, game? Then you can buy this hat DLC. Only dollars we hadn't decided on a price when we made this trailer. $0.99. Smell diary. Why is there a smell diary? And what does salmonella smell like? Actually, don't tell me. Hats, you wear them. Frog Fractions. Available August 3rd. Oh, I guess it's not available till next year. That's a real shame. Oh yeah, look at wow, look at that. The hat, the price they decided on was $9.99. Yeah. Demolition says if it's typing, I prefer Cryptmaster. If that's not what I think it is, that game actually rules, but I think I would hate playing that. Cryptmaster?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. This game is really cool.
Just steer clear of the toads, please.
No dead may pass.
Now it's pointy. Wakey.
I mean, the black and white might be a little off-putting to you, but I think the overall aesthetic of this is really cool. But the typing game Northern Lion played, I mean, I would for sure hate that. Like, this at least has sort of, like, fun, like, adventuring mechanics. The, like, raw, like, type racing of that game, whose name I don't remember. Like, man. Yeah, Typing Royale. Yeah, not into it at all. How we doing on the poll? 4-1 Marnie. Plus, I know Keen said that they voted on my mom's behalf, but I mean, would you have voted differently to that, Keen? Because we could count that as 5. Okay, just for the record, I'm not sure we're actually looking for the best typing game, but I don't know. I feel like it's how could it not be Cryptmaster? This game's really interesting. What is Blood Typer, though? Oh, wait, is Blood Typers... No, I think I've seen a really similar game to this. I don't think it was Blood Typers, but one that... I mean, there's famously, like, Typing of the Dead. I feel like I've seen another one that's, like, kind of similar to that, though. Where, like, the idea is that as you type, you, like, kill zombies or whatever. Okay, so... Don't know if Mavis Bacon is technically a game. I mean, it sounds like a person. There's Beacon. What? Are you okay, Chad?
Hi, Mavis Beacon. I'm here to help you improve your typing skills. You can take a lesson, practice typing, jump right into the fun with a typing game.
Chat, are you okay?
Or make another selection from the menu. Welcome to the lesson area.
I like that the trailer includes a stutter that audio file didn't load correctly.
The lesson plan. Choose an option to begin.
Everyone in chat is judging me for not having heard of this game before. I gotta tell you one thing. My school was absolute dog water about teaching typing. We had like one like day of like touch typing class, like a day of it. I use just a style of typing that I have cobbled together that is effective for me and is not replicatable, and I don't recommend using it. But like, I did not have any touch typing game growing up. It was just not something that my education prioritized at all.
Hi, Mavis Beacon. I'm here.
The stuttering in that trailer is really something special.
Can you hear me?
Okay, hold on. Let's go back to store. All right, let's do the thing where we get the games. I wrote it down as Chicken Detective. This is why I had problems before. It's Chicken Police. I understand this now. I understood this in hindsight when Demolition named two random words that made it sound like he was trying to activate the Winter Soldier, but actually he was suggesting buying this and the Seance of Blake Manor without implementing the touch typing skills we were just discussing. And then Manor.
What secret?
I mean, I'll say this before we have any further experience with either of these games. I have to say that I am impressed with chat for what feels like a much more unanimous decision than last year, but also just like absolutely milking the budget, like just hitting the absolute ceiling. And I don't mean that as some sort of like backhanded compliment. I mean like chef's kiss of like agreeing on two games that exactly -2 cents like hits the limit. Yeah, I mean chat really pulled through on this one. Okay, just making sure that's all good. I'm intrigued by how unanimous the interest in Chicken Police was. I don't think I would have called that. I kind of refuse to like leave my information saved into Steam. I don't know why. Just feels like somehow something could go wrong that way. And right, this is that one. And then this. So this and that. This information and that information. All right, you require a phone number, don't you? Not like 100% sure why. There are like a couple of places where I will like leave stuff because it's such a huge inconvenience to like not leave the information. But like, to be honest with you, I make Steam purchases rarely enough that like I feel pretty good about.
Famed naturalist
not
John
doing
Muir,
that. Before I finalize this, I think Blake Manor's gonna be okay. I don't think that's gonna give me any trouble to run. Let me take another look at Chicken, please. No, that seems like that's gonna be a hassle just to check it. I believe in the heart of the cards. Credit cards used to require phone numbers? At what point in history was that exactly true? You have 2 hours to return the game. I mean, that sort of suggests that I'm going to like test both. I mean, I guess we could spend the rest of the stream testing them for stream readiness. Everyone loves troubleshooting streams, don't they? Which I say like a joke, but for some reason people actually are really into those. Now, hang on a second. Spotted a problem before I processed it. Yeah, it should be fine. Do it. Really, it's 2 hours of gameplay? It's not from, like, point of sale? Well, that's interesting. That's very interesting. I didn't think it worked that way. Okay. So now... I do gotta clean some of my Steam games off the hard drive. I've left too many of them on there. Let's see if we drop any frames. Probably shouldn't, but that won't stop me from worrying about it. White lady with dreadlocks on the train. What's your response to that in person? What are you gonna do? You're on the spot now, Zacula. If you do, make sure you pick them up. That's not how any of that works. That we didn't get Fox Sex Farm. You know, it is a trending search on Steam. Like, shouldn't all Steam users feel like a joint sense of shame over that? Like, shouldn't we all feel bad about that? Like, it's bad enough that it's like on the trending list, but like if you literally just like click into the search box, it's like, have you considered buying Fox Sex Farm? Let's do a Discord group playthrough of it. I mean, Zagula couldn't even convince chat that we should play 5 Hearts Under One Roof, which is legitimately good. So like, I don't think you're getting everyone on board for Fox Sex Farm. Although, you might prove me wrong, considering everyone was like all in on Chicken Police after like 15 seconds of trailer. You have no idea if it's even possible to co-op. That shows a lack of imagination, Demolition. I mean, as someone who watches as many streams as you do, like, have you never like played a game by committee? Remember last year when I did for Halloween, I did Twitch Plays Costume Quest? That idea was like a backup to what I had originally wanted to do, which was to like use there for some period of time. There was like a Telltale Games like server that you could use to like have people like vote on every decision that could be made in a Telltale game. And I was like literally just going to put one of them on and like let you play it and just sort of see what happened. But then in like after some not trivial amount of research, I found out that like when the company went over, that server went kaput. Tough crowd for FMV games. Does seem that way. I mean, I know, like, it's interesting. I know Katian is generally pro and interested in FMV games. And I know that Neko has, like, an almost irrational hatred for FMV games. That, like, I feel like there's like, some interesting thing to dig into there that, like, it's not my place to do. But, like, it might be fun to figure that out at some point. But, like, it's just interesting that, like, other than those two outliers, I feel like everyone is just, like, generically in the middle. Still a chance we'll play regular The Complex during regular streams. There's some shot at that. I don't know if that's spooky enough for Halloween, but like, I think I could be sold on that. I mean, I think it's more likely that I'll try to sell you on Contradiction being like a fun game to play. And I'm not entirely sure I'm going to win that war, but I think that game is really fun. Like, let me put it this way. If when we watched that Nancy Drew trailer and she was like, ow, I'm stuck, you thought that was funny, you will probably enjoy Contradictions. FMV are usually badly done and kind of PTSD inducing. Explain to me the second half of that take. I'm not arguing it. I want to know what you mean by that. I mean, whether or not FMV are well done, somewhat subjective, but I do think it's relatively fair to say that like a majority of them are probably not done with a tremendous budget. I will say though that one of the things that impresses me about Five Hearts Under One Roof is that like it's done super well, like almost absurdly well is that FMV game produced. Like I am not accustomed to games being made that well. You have to play Dark Side of the Moon. Do I know Dark Side of the Moon, the FMV game? Wait, I'm sure you've told me about that at some point. I don't remember what it is. And I don't want to try playing a trailer while I'm still downloading The Seance of Blake Manor. Because that will almost definitely drop frames. I mean, it shouldn't. Operator was a good one. I don't remember if I know Operator. Modern ones are better in general than the old ones. I'm not quite sure I would co-sign that. Some of the ones that have come out in the past few years are still pretty. What's the name of the one where you're like you're like channeling ghosts in a hotel, and like the proprietor of the hotel is like a washed up stand-up comedian who's also a serial killer? That game is bonkers, man. I know like the Game Grumps like played like a half hour of that one recently. It was the first, like I'd completely forgotten the name of it, and then they played it and I watched it, and like the tutorial was such nonsense that they like couldn't keep composed. Yeah, Game Grumps played it recently, like a month or two ago. But like it has some like weird name. Not for Broadcast has been on my like Steam wish list for like a while. I forget when I put it on there. I don't really keep things on my Steam wish list all that often, but it's one that Katina and I have talked about. Like I'm not actually sure if that'll be good. It's such an interesting concept. There's actually also, was this an FMV game or just like a similar game to that? There's one I remember the Augscast playing probably like a decade ago that had this interesting conceit where like you operated like a pirate radio station or something, and like you were trying to like organize this resistance by sending like code phrases to various people who are like also broadcasting signals. So you'd have to like find like a rogue signal somewhere and then like get some like question from them and like listen to random signals to like basically like record on your cassette tape like a message to broadcast to them. Like you, for some reason you couldn't just like talk into a microphone. I don't remember what the heck that game was called, but it left an impression on me because it was so like weird. I'm pretty sure when they played through that, they got like whatever like the worst ending was because it was like super not satisfying. Who pressed mute on Uncle Marcus? Yeah, that one's more recent, isn't it? I feel like I watched a trailer for that like in the last year.
It's Mimigawa, isn't it?
Yeah, that's probably the name of the game. I think Mimigawa was the game I was thinking of. What do I have? I don't think no, I do have the other monitor set up, but that should work, right? Yeah, I probably still shouldn't do this.
Mr. Featherly.
Number 89.
The thumbnail on this video that you linked, Cotillion, is like bananas. I assume that is not an accurate representation of the game. Oh no, this is like a review of this or something. You know what? I think we talked about this a while ago, and I might have just watched a playthrough of this. That looks a little familiar. I don't remember what that is. Is that the one? hang on. I remember like exactly two things about this game, other than its like absolute vague concept. Isn't there something where you like solve like a fairly mundane problem by like hitting a guy over the head with a steel chair? And it might actually be the same moment as the other thing I remember, which is like, don't you like wish someone a happy birthday and then just like take them out or something? Is it the same scene? Do you like, there's like some guy like guarding some like place you're trying to get into and you're like, oh, happy birthday. And then you like hit him unconscious with a chair and then just like walk in there or something like that. I think this is a real part of that same game. Okay. Library. Okay, question, chat. Which of these, so neither of these games seems short enough that we would finish them before the end of the year, considering that that consists of like an estimated like 3 to 4 hours of stream remaining in 2025. Which of these games would we rather start before the end of the year? Did you find that scene in particular, Killian? Blake Manor seems like it might require more investment. You know, that's a reasonable observation. Just a playlist. Oh, okay. Oh, anyone know when Slay the Spire 2 is coming out? I gotta be honest, I'm like, I almost want to call it cautiously pessimistic. Like, it should be good, right? Slay the Spire 2 should be good. But will it be good? March. Interesting. I love the DC Metro on Saturday nights. Drunk guy yelling about Trump on one side of the car, two sobbing drunk GWU students on the other end. Is that not the same conversation? I could easily be convinced of that, Zacula. All right, sounds like the consensus is chicken, please. Now, to be clear, I don't intend on starting this game now because we've lost a few of the people who were excited about this, and you know the conceit of the stream was to make the call. And I mean, compared to last year, record time, but also that was quicker than I anticipated possible. Maybe if we do this more, we'll eventually set more concrete ground rules as to how we reach a consensus. But so I just wanna open Chicken Police. No, not next week off. So next Friday is on, the rest of the year is off. Resume in, I don't know. I don't want to think about 2026 yet. Barring something unexpected, I would anticipate Friday, January 2nd being the post-holiday resume. So let's, okay. So let's have fun together. What's the best way to do this live? I think it's like move this to this monitor. Click play, minimize this, probably drop some frames. I mean, I can't speak for my sister, but I do know that she should be in the state of Florida by next Sunday. And unless she's planning something quirky, there's really no reason to expect her to be streaming on that day. I'm pretty sure my mom has told me when she's expecting to go home, but also I'm not sure I should be talking about that on my stream. So I don't know when she resumes. Also, just to be clear, I am looking at this game trying to load. It's loaded up on, I don't know, it's funny. My sister has been trying a lot of games recently on her streams and talks about how she wishes everything would default to monitor 1, and obviously that's super loud. Okay, hold on. I mean, for now, I'm just gonna like dump that master because that's just clearly too loud. Let's just use the shortcut because I'm not seeing a dedicated menu for windowing. This looks like it wants to live full screen. So for me, I tend to prefer having things go on my second monitor. Bad time to be wearing earbuds. Listen, there was so much lead time up to the game loading up of me warning you what it was. Yeah, like I feel like there was enough warning to anticipate that going badly. But like, if it's not clear, all video games are designed to be insufferable when you turn them on. We've just decided as a species that video games are a thing we will continue to produce, but it is important for humanity at large that you suffer when you start them. So yes, turning on a video game while streaming does ruin OBS like 100% of the time. Don't know why that's true. Sister could do an IRL stream from Disney World. Sure. Plenty of things that she could do. I don't think she's doing that. Yeah, I mean, like, I'll say this. I don't think it's unreasonable to suggest in abstract that that's a thing a person could do. I would, and I don't think you're trying to like broach anything, but just like broadly, I'm just going to make this statement that like, I would recommend against suggesting to a content creator that they contentify some part of their life that they're not already offering freely. Because not only could that be perceived as rude, but also if people haven't already established for themselves healthy boundaries, it may encourage unhealthy behavior. Have you gotten to the saga of the frozen lasagna? I don't think so. I don't think I've got there yet. Be really cute to see you both on stream, even momentarily. I mean, unfortunately, the way I've like laid out this office is like kind of terrible for two people being seated at the desk, and my sister mainly operates on the opposite corner of the country, not the opposite side, like the furthest possible distance. Is the nicest way you could have said that, and you're absolutely correct. I think the number one compliment I have received in my life is that I am diplomatic. Although, it could also be interpreted as not at all a compliment. But I am very good at carefully choosing words. So, yeah. One thing that I struggled to convey to people is... you should never assume that I haven't given something thought unless I say that to you directly. Because I genuinely don't know if I would be considered neurotypical from like a medical diagnosis standpoint. But I don't think I'm neurotypical. I think I'm weird. Like, I am always thinking about stuff too hard. Sometimes I'll have like an innocent conversation with my mom about like something coming up, and she'll make some like suggestion, and I'm like 50 steps ahead. And not like as a flex, just sort of like, I've already spent like so much time thinking about this that not only have I thought about that thing you're suggesting and the thing you're about to suggest, but I've also thought about like 2 counter examples and 8 other things that could have happened and never will. And like, again, no part of that is meant to be a flex, because like genuinely I think that has caused me like a tremendous amount of suffering. I think this thought process that can be used for good has brought so much more anxiety and suffering to me than any good it's provided. I don't think anyone is neurotypical. I mean, it's tricky, right? Like, depending on what kind of definition you're going to use, like, how could anyone be neurotypical, right? Like, what could be the baseline that would establish typicality? Yeah, and again, continue. I'm not trying to say that you were suggesting something untoward. Just putting it out there, just because, like, at the risk of, like, something parasocial happening, I mean, like, I know that probably a majority of you have at least visited my sister's stream, have been to both of us, have talked to my mom in chat. So, like, just sort of putting it out there as, like, broadly speaking, a boundary that, like, should exist for us all when we, like, watch someone live. We're gonna hi future Vasco. This is the part where we figure out how to splice and edit from some part earlier in the video. Fantastic, great job, me. You did it. Okay, so we spent a little time calibrating the bare minimum settings, which is my favorite, the classic. Let's make sure the audio doesn't kill anyone, except Zacula did die. Rest in peace, Zacula. But we should be ready to play Chicken Police, which I really want to call Chicken Detective, and that's gonna be a problem, isn't it? But we'll play that next Friday. Genuinely am really impressed by and proud of chat for really decisively picking a couple of games that use up the whole budget, and I think basically everyone is on board with them. Which I don't even think we managed last year. We got a rough consensus in the end, but like I think mostly people were like, yes on Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, I guess sure whatever on the rest. No, keep making the Chicken Boo references. It is one of my favorites. I don't think I would say that at the time that the Animaniacs aired in the 90s, Chicken Boo was my favorite, but I think that in hindsight, Chicken Boo might be my favorite part of the entirety of Animaniacs. It's like not even a good joke, but that's like part of what makes the fact that they did it so often so good. I love big Chicken Boo fan. There's just something so stupid. Like, one of the things that's so funny to me about Chicken Boo, and I'll clue you in if you don't already know what Chicken Boo is. The Animaniacs was an animated TV show from the 90s. It had a bunch of, like, vignettes to it. So, like, there'd be hijinks with the titular Animaniacs. They were, like, a trio of cartoon characters who would do shenanigans. They'd kind of, like, bully people, but usually they deserved it in some way. But like there were a bunch of them, like Pinky and the Brain was one of them. If you're familiar with Pinky and the Brain, that started as like part of the show Animaniacs, which that in and of itself is like the story of two lab mice who were experimented on and got like abnormal intelligence. One of them is like a super evil genius, and the other one is just like technically smarter than a mouse, but is kind of an idiot. And like they would have hijinks where they would try to take over the world. And there were a bunch of them like that. I don't know how many in total. Those are like Pinky and the Brain, probably the most famous. Maybe the second most famous is Chicken Boo. The premise of Chicken Boo is they all have a jingle that explains the premise of them. But Chicken Boo, he wears a disguise to look like human guys, but he's not a man. He's a chicken.
Somos hey, birthday?
Sure. They all were accompanied by a song like this one. No, that's a good point. My mom points out Mindy and Buttons was like a kind of a Lassie parody where there was like a little girl who was always getting in danger and her like intelligent dog who wasn't like super intelligent like Brain the Mouse, but like was smart enough that like Lassie could try to rescue her. But like Mindy had like no self-preservation instinct and would randomly like talk to strangers and like wander into dangerous situations. But and I do quote this to this day on stream of like, okay, I love you, bye-bye, which like she would just like ask a bunch of like asinine questions of some random person and then just like abruptly end the conversation by just saying like, okay, I love you, bye-bye. And you know, like that carries over to this day when I'm playing a video game and a conversation just ends or I feel weird about it, I'll just say that. Yeah, good night, Zacula. Thank you for stopping by. We'll have chicken next week. Hooray. But so like the concept of Chicken Boo is simply this, that like and this is the crux of what I appreciate about it, is like for some unknown reason Chicken Boo is like a human-sized chicken that just seems to like wearing human clothes, and like every installment of Chicken Boo is just like some snapshot of a life, like a fully realized life that this human-sized chicken has garnered by just like putting on like a shirt and tie and like going into an office every day for an unspecified amount of time. I feel like he was engaged or married like multiple times, and like it's just like the chicken isn't malevolent. It's not like he's like trying to like trick people and like get one over on them, but like I think he just wants to be like people. So like he just keeps doing that, but then like he'll also just like randomly start doing chicken things and his shirt will fall off and people will be like, wait, that's a human-sized chicken. What's going on? Like, it's so dumb. It's like dumb to like almost the same degree as that stupid bit that I really like in Sam and Max, where the chicken landlord is like giving them a hard time about a cow in their apartment, which is the source of like, it's the cow we've been raising in our apartment with a lampshade on its head. When like one of the options is to basically just not participate in the joke at all, and it makes the other actor really mad. Who is the girl who loved animals so much she squeezed them? She's a character from Tiny Toons. I believe her name is Elvira. I think that's right. And that is Tiny Toons, not Animaniacs. But like, there's kind of a lot of overlap in theme and style. It's pretty normal to compare the two, I think. Or confuse them, rather. But yeah, I expect, respect, and appreciate Chicken Boo references for the duration of the chicken-themed police game. Unless there are any other orders of business, I will probably conclude the stream shortly and then figure out how to edit this. Also, not a soul on earth will watch this. Are you kidding me? Can you imagine, after the fact, going to watch this stream? What purpose would it serve? I'm gonna upload it, but I don't know who would want it or why. But there are a couple of streams I've uploaded that are like this. I have to say, one thing I'm gonna say, I'm actually really happy with the YouTube viewer numbers over the course of this last year. They're not good. They are not good. I'm not gonna try and claim that they're impressive, but like, they are the best numbers for the span of a single year I think I've had since I was actually like making edited content specifically for YouTube well over a decade ago. Like Skylanders and Spider-Man and those things. Like, those got some real hits. But like, since the uploads have been stream VODs, like, no one watches them. They're mainly an archival tool for like people who join later and are like, hey, did you play this game? You would like it. And it's like, I did like it. I've already played it. If you want to see that playthrough, it exists and you can access it. But like, I guess it's a good tool to have if I ever actually get successful or popular so that people can find some of these things in the past. But like, at this point, I don't really anticipate that happening. Like I talked about recently, it would be nice if that happened, because if nothing else, it would provide me the opportunity to spend more of my time doing creative stuff, like making hypothetical holiday movie reviews that I think there is an actual audience for. But like, you riddle me this: how do I stream and edit and upload videos and work 40 hours a week and like do all my holiday shopping and actually still enjoy a moment of my time and still engage with a process like that? Are you friends with other streamers? Not really. I mean, I'm related to my sister. I'm friends with Zacula, who's like basically sworn off streaming, but did previously stream. I'd say I'm like kind of friends with Letters, although we don't really talk much off stream interaction. But like beyond that, not really. I've like collaborated with some of my IRL friends to make content in the past, but that hasn't really much happened over the past while. But yeah, I mean, the thing is that like I'm mainly what you would call a variety streamer. It's a lot harder to like connect with other content creators if you're not in like a set niche with them. Like, you know, Pokemon YouTubers or Magic the Gathering YouTubers or, you know, COD YouTubers or something. Stuff of that nature. An interview on someone else's stream might be cute. Maybe. I don't know. One thing that's tough for me is like, I don't really like a lot of multiplayer games. Part of it, I think, is personal preference. I tend not to enjoy the content of the majority of multiplayer games. So, like, it makes me a little disinterested in making that content, because I can't help but feel like it's just not good content. That's not inherently true in any way, but like it's something that like makes it a struggle for me to like consider doing that. I know that like a bunch of times people have been like, why don't you like do like multiplayer stuff with the community? And like it's tough because it's like it's hard for me to find time to do that not on stream, but like I don't really think that necessarily other people in chat like watching that on stream. Any non-cooperative multiplayer game isn't for me. Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. I mean, like, for example, people love Jackbox. People think that's like great multiplayer content. I loathe Jackbox. I think Jackbox is... I think it says something specific about me as a person, but I feel like Jackbox activates like a high percentage of all the available negative neurons in my brain. They're like, quick, be entertaining in 30 seconds or everyone will judge you and laugh at you. And it's just, I get like no enjoyment out of Jackbox. And like, it's something that like occasionally the community is like, we should do Jackbox. Jackbox would be fun. And I'm like, I didn't realize you wanted to see me have a mental breakdown on stream. You had that almost entire year where you played Arena and even played with viewers. I did occasionally play with viewers. That wasn't terribly frequent. It's not exactly... I mean, I could go into like an elaborate analysis of why I don't consider that to be the same thing as like multiplayer content. Yeah, I mean, I just wish that Wizards of the Coast, and by extension, like the people who manage the creative decisions for Arena, instilled any confidence in me. Like I was so excited when Arena came out because I thought that like I could finally have like a proper niche and I like could be like a Magic content creator, because like I know Magic really well and I think I could make good Magic content, but I don't think Arena is a good vessel for it because it's so focused on like standard and like draft, and now draft includes like weird garbage like the Spider-Man set, which should have been at least okay, but was really awful. Anyway, yeah, that's... I mean, I could go on forever about that, but I choose not to. I don't wish to. You know, I left the door open to try and eat a donut on stream. It's still not happening. I regret to inform you, I still feel too gross. The water helped, but like gross. Any podcast experience or desire? I mean, desire in the sense that like if I had a good enough idea and really particularly reliable, enthusiastic people to work with on a good idea, it's something I feel like I would be good at and could manage. But like, again, working a full-time job, the time has to come from somewhere. So it's like I would have to stop streaming to do it, or I'd have to get good enough at streaming that there would be sufficient interest in a podcast that like it would be worth the time, you know? Like, it's like, here's the thing. I genuinely believe that I am like a capable content creator in multiple facets. But the problem is that like you either have to be willing to go all in on it, quit your day job, like be willing to risk your entire life on it and commit super hard to the grind to make it into a full-time job. Or you can plug away at it and hope to reach some point of success where you don't have to do that, which is arguably where I'm at now. Or like you just have to like have some huge break and capitalize on it with your skills as a content creator. You know what we should do, Vasco? We should do an old school radio drama via podcast. We could do that. I don't know where that time's coming from. Just to be clear, probably like in the scheme of things, probably the game I've been most excited to have come out this entire calendar year is Pokemon ZA. There were other games that I probably had been more excited about, but like most of them did not end up living up to my expectations. I with some concerted effort, I think I've played about 24 hours of that game since it released in the like 2 months ago. That's what my free time looks like. But like, yeah, I could absolutely do like a Hallmark reviewing channel. Like, I've been putting a lot of thought this year into like what logistically that would be like. The problem is time. Like, other than graphical assets, which are also an issue for me because I just don't have, like, I'd have to invest a lot of time to get good at that myself. I don't have great contacts with people who could help me do that. I could like maybe try and coerce my friend from high school into doing it, but like I'm not sure his style meshes with like what I normally try to present in my like quote unquote branding. But like at this point I honestly have a pretty good idea of like something I might almost describe as a business plan of how I would approach making content around reviewing holiday movies. But it will be an unbelievable investment of time I don't have. Like, it might require more time than me just not streaming. Like, it might require so much time that it would be like, you have to stop streaming and also quit your day job. Might be neat to see you riff off someone else. I mean, go check out the Renegade Constabulary YouTube channel. I don't know how many years we were actually producing content there, but my close friend from college and I started making YouTube videos together before I started making YouTube videos on my own, before I started streaming. And you know, like we have a pretty good dynamic. The tone is a little bit different because there was no world in which I was ever going to get him to stop swearing. And it starts to feel unnatural in conversation to me to like censor that when it's like clearly not going on. That varies. I am actually a big fan of the mid-Atlantic accent. I kind of want what I've read a quote. I don't know who the quote is attributed to, but that like Star Trek is a period piece that happens to take place in the future, which is such an interesting perspective on what Star Trek is and why Star Trek is why good Star Trek is presented in the way that it is. Right? Isn't that fascinating? Like, because like there's this almost Shakespearean quality to the gravitas of how conversations are structured and the interactions between characters. So it makes a lot of sense when you look at it through that lens. And it also explains to some degree why I think New Trek is bad, because it's not. It's not a period piece. It could be a bad CW show. The dialogue is bad and doesn't have that same gravitas. But like some part of me wants to do like sci-fi but with like mid-Atlantic accents, which just like no one's ever done that, and I just think that's kind of fun. And I think it does give like a weird kind of timeless but also stylized quality to something. You consider writing a script for Star Trek but for the Hallmark Channel? What does that mean? Explain that sentence. But and I don't want this to come across critical, but I want to bring this back to a discussion we had earlier in the stream. You are a little bit, you're on the border of doing exactly what I said you probably shouldn't do with streamers. And I'm going to be pretty chill about it because like I'm engaging in the conversation and I could just not engage if I didn't want to. But like, again, I do pretty strongly recommend that if there is a part of a content creator's life that they're not offering as content, you should not suggest that they make it content. You probably shouldn't do that. Again, I'm not saying like I'm mad at you for doing that, but again, I think as a boundary, you probably should not do that with people on the internet. Star Trek, but the episode could be for the Hallmark Channel. I don't think that's a thing. I think you're describing like the null set. There is no overlap between those matrices. I mean, do you understand even in relative terms what the budget of like a single Hallmark Christmas movie is? Even one with like Lacey Chabert in it, which are the ones that they tend to spend all their budget on. You're not getting a single Rent-A-Prize. And yes, I know what I said. I'm trying to take over the town to build a housing complex. What did that be without the need for wealth and property? I mean, it does. I mean, like that also is, at least at a glance, pretty difficult to conceive of. Like, I guess it would have to be like an alien species who still has scarcity, or like, why is there like a capitalism inspired problem? Like, honestly, though, I think I have a decent transatlantic accent. Not a great one, mind you, but one that's passable for the purpose of recording a stupid thing. Just do a Ferengi. I mean, but you realize that Star Trek already has that. Like, there's an entire character for an entire series whose story arc is basically what you're describing. Like, I don't think trying to sell Hallmark on this adds anything to either audience. We're just talking about the Vogons demolishing the Earth to build a freeway. Yeah, kind of. That's kind of where we're at, yeah. Anyway, I think I might legitimately start stressing myself out if I start perceiving a sufficient amount of pressure to be like doing, like, I can't, like, I want to be clear about this. I have interest in making Hallmark movie content. I think there's an audience for it, and I don't think there's a lot of it out there. I don't have the resources to do this. I would have to do it like all myself, which I could do if I didn't have 40 hours of my week accounted for. And when I talk about wanting to be successful as a content creator, like, that's kind of what I'm talking about. Like, just that I could spend my time actually doing this instead of doing it like as a somewhat productive hobby. But like, how do we get on this thought? I'm pretty sure it was Mystery, because Mystery just likes to tell me things I should be doing with my time. And most of that, like most or all of them are innocent, but then I feel like I should respond to them. And this is the part of the conversation I was getting at earlier, where like some people have trouble establishing boundaries with others, which is why it is good of you, the viewer, to not try and create a parasocial situation by even innocently suggesting that they should be doing something for you that they have not offered freely. And again, not trying to actually be judgmental of you, but I'm saying that this could create a problem for people that you engage with on the internet if you do this sort of thing. But like, no, like the whole reason that I started taking notes on the 2025 slate of Hallmark Christmas movies is because I had the intention of trying to give it a shot in the background. There isn't time. Even to do the barest minimum version of this, I haven't had like an hour to even like try. Like, it's not feasible. I get excited to see you grow. But here's the thing. If there's one thing I could impart to you from this whole discussion, it would be this: that the way to see me grow is to spread the word, is to tell people that I'm someone that they should watch. Because if we hit a critical mass, if I made enough money off this that I could like find an alternate solution for working full time, then I could do these projects. But like, you realize that like I probably spend 10 hours a week doing all stream related things, maybe a little more. It's kind of like give or take like 2 hours or something. But like 10 hours plus 50 hours of work week plus like, I don't know, 49 hours sleeping probably, if we're being realistic. So, you know, like that's already like you know, 100 hours of my week spoken for. It doesn't leave a lot once you factor in like eating and doing other things that are required to survive. Like, I probably, as it stands, invest too much of my time in streaming. I'm okay with that because it's something that makes me happy. This is the part of my life I enjoy. But I am not, I don't have the resources to do more than this right now. Like, if you like the streams, I could maybe exchange the streams for doing something like a small quantity of like edited YouTube content. But like, it's not free. There's no such thing as a free lunch. The resources come from somewhere, and I don't have that many of them. And time is like the one I have the least of. Yeah, I was concerned that I was going to reach this point. Hey, check it out. We have some fun games to play next week leading into next year. This stream is virtually over. Look around this room, because around here I've hidden some number of Squirtles. Those are secret Squirtles. If you find a Squirtle that's hidden this way, it's an omen of good luck for you in the coming days. That might last you all the way up to Police Chicken, Paint the Town Red, or whatever it's actually called. I can't be bothered to remember. Figure it out. Say holiday Eevee, but you have two. Do you like Santa hat? Or like... This looks like some sort of traditional folk hat, but I don't know from what culture. Exactly the guess behind coughing. Okay, that's good to know. Would it matter? It could. Hard to say without checking. Santa hat? Okay. Winnie the Pooh. What's the guy next to the Eevee we're just pointing at? Well, this is Santa Winnie the Pooh. This is Santa Snoopy. This is kind of busted Charlie Brown Christmas Charlie Brown. And then this is Clarice. You should know that one by now. Listen, is it a good likeness of Charlie Brown? It is not. Is it kind of a janky squishmallow in its own right? A little bit. Did it feel somehow disingenuous and sad to get both Santa Snoopy and Christmas Woodstock without getting the weird Charlie Brown? Yeah. Does that mean I ended up with that weird Charlie Brown that everyone hates? A little bit. I don't regret it. How did they make it not good? I mean, here's the thing. I love Squishmallows. I love the general design of them. They've been very creative and managed to do some things that didn't seem like they should make good Squishmallows into pretty good Squishmallows. Not all things can be Squishmallows. I don't think Charlie Brown makes a very good Squishmallow. Honestly, I'm not sure that Wally makes a good Squishmallow, but I love Wally so much, I just frankly don't care. Okay, I think that's all the guesses I'm getting. So we got Winnie the Pooh, Santa Eevee, coughing. Did you have your own guess, Cotillion? Did I miss that? I'm gonna assume that it's Charlie Brown unless you say otherwise. Oh, that really hurt getting up. What's with these legs? Okay, great. Well, I'm gonna start here with coughing. Coughing. I put this adorable little hot chocolate mug that I got from the Squishmallow Advent Calendar last year behind there. Fun fact, I did look at the selection available in this year's Advent Calendar. They were extremely similar to last year's, except, in my opinion, slightly worse. So if you're wondering why I didn't do that again, that's mainly why. I do love coughing. However, coughing is a bit of an outlier. He is really good. I'm a huge fan of this guy. I wish I could interview the woman who was like working at the store when I bought this coughing, because she was like, I don't know. She seemed really energized by how much I loved the coughing. Yeah, he's kind of purple. He's a big purple orb of fun, and I love him. And he's genuinely one of my favorite Pokemon. And well, if we look around, Weird Squishmallow, Charlie Brown, he's got Squirtle. Santa Head, Eevee, that's a Squirtle. Santa Winnie the Pooh, that's a Squirtle. Yeah, I mean, even Rudolph, he's got a Squirtle, and he's kind of at the far limit of the theme, which is red. I mean, you really have to associate red with Rudolph. You're legally obligated. Someone had actually guessed red as the theme yesterday. I went a little all in on it today, but I thought it would be fun to put Coughing out, A, because I love him, and I haven't been doing that very much lately, and B, because I honestly thought it was really obvious to look at that wall and notice one purple guy. So I feel a little bad about that. But he was literally the only one who didn't have a Squirtle. Even all these little guys, all the little ones on the desk, all of them have Squirtle. They're all Squirtles. Even the new one. First guess will always be the theme is cute. That's that, you know. Maybe someday I can work out something such that is true. Have we uncovered all the things you own over the years? I mean, I'm going to level with you. I owned a lot of plush toys from before I moved out of my parents' house. None of them are represented in anything you've ever seen. Maybe like one or two, but they don't come to mind. I think everyone you've ever seen has been obtained, you know, since I lived in North Hollywood, which means there's kind of a grotesque collection of additional plush toys that would cause psychic damage if you were to try and contemplate them, like the world of H.P. Lovecraft or Darkest Dungeon. It's more limited to what you have on hand in this place. I mean, as it stands, one of the most stressful things in my life is trying to figure out how to store all the stuffed animals and or display them. I'm looking forward to Flareon showing up because I don't actually think it's reasonable to try and make a solution for that until I know exactly what can be managed with Flareon in this space. I honestly probably should get rid of some of the ones I have, if for no other reason than so that there's actually space to get some new ones over time. But that is so insanely hard for me to do. Although, I think, in the future, like, I did get rid of a small quantity of them when I left North Hollywood, just because, like, I couldn't fit them in the storage space I had allotted for them. But, like, if I get rid of more of them, I think one thing I would consider doing is, like, putting them up for adoption on the Discord server. If someone wanted to claim them, like, maybe we could work out some system where, like, you could take a familiar Vasco plush that needs a new home. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if people are interested in that or if we could work out a good solution for it. But I don't know. I can't imagine a world where I don't want some small quantity of future plush toys or whatever. So, like, at some point, something's got to give. And, you know, I feel like some people in the community would be excited about that. For now, I'm gonna call it quits here. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being you. And I hope to see you again soon. Good talk, good hustle. Really proud of you for picking out 2 games that both look like winners. We'll be back with some Police Chicken Paint the Town Red next Friday. And that will be our final stream of the calendar year 2025. Then we'll pick up again in January. We'll figure out if we'll play the game side by side or just power through Chicken first. I don't know. I haven't decided. We've kind of been going one game at a time for a little while, but that was kind of a function of like not knowing what we'd be able to finish before the end of the year. But yeah, this was fun. Hopefully you enjoyed this bizarre process. No one will ever watch this video in the future, which is great. So I will, I look forward to seeing you again soon. And until I do, remember to take care of yourselves and that you are clawsome.